Hi. I hope my computer's not picking up all the sound. Why are you not moving? Oh, never mind. Your mouth doesn't open. Yeah. Or I'm not speaking loud enough to trigger it. Yep, that's exactly what it is. I'm not speaking loud enough. Need to load up the game. But we're playing a new game. It's not new. It's just a game I haven't played on stream before. Okay, I can't get myself to pick up at all. It's not triggering the PNG. I'm just gonna switch PNGs so you can't tell that it's not picking up. Oh my god. Sorry. Is that better? I don't know how. I don't want it to be louder than me. Okay. Alright. So after piercing all our eardrums, show my game, please. Thank you. Okay, so after piercing our eardrums, hello. Hi, Volvin. Yeah. So, Volvin, you missed everyone getting their eardrums pierced by how loud the music was at full volume. But this is like, well, I can't dictate how good the voice sounds yet because there isn't any voice yet. But music, good level, can still hear me. I don't remember what this does at all. I haven't played this in a while. On scene text. Stop after choices. Skip after choices. Okay. I haven't messed with this in a while. Okay. Yes. Ow, the sound of Discord just like pierced my eardrums. Oh, don't disturb. Hurt. Ooh, I'm not getting sidetracked. That's very nice, Volvin. Very good art. Okay. So, I don't need the tutorial, but it's a visual novel. But I'm gonna have it up for you guys. I'm gonna give it a second because I don't know how. The shark's in the way. You guys can't read that. Wait, can you guys read that, or is the shark not that big of a deal? Because I can move the game. The sharks might be a problem for you guys. Alright, it's fine. Okay. To learn about everything in detail. Okay. I'm just gonna leave these up. This is like, okay, so the out now and some will be released later on. I think all the DLC for this game is out. I think all the DLC are out for this game, but this is like when the game first came out. Oh, you can make this you can make your character like trans. You can make your character like whatever you want to make it be. And I need to grab a hoodie, I'm cold. I'm just letting it go while I mess with my hoodie. I know I'm not being heard very well, but I'm not near the microphone. I'm doing good. How are you? I want to tell you guys this, but I'm gonna let you guys. I'm gonna let you guys see it yourselves. I'm not gonna spoil it. We can pick a preset name. The preset options will have the characters say them out loud. I don't really care if he says like the name, whatever name we pick out loud. I don't remember. Yeah, I think I got this DLC. I don't remember. Who supported the project? Woo! Oh, yes. Okay, I love how the character selection screen looks. Yeah, we don't appear in the character sprites, by the way. Yeah, I don't think I got the deal. I don't think I have the DLC that adds more love interest. But even if I did, I don't even know if I'd pick any of the other ones. Purely because he is the kindest, he's the nicest one out of all of them. Yeah, you did buy me some. I just don't remember what I have. So there is achievements. I'm still missing some. I don't know if I'll play just to get the achievements. I probably won't. I'll do like that on like my personal time. But yeah, if you decide to date, I guess, I don't know if it's for all of the love interest, but if you decide to date them, you cannot break up with them later. Which I feel is like all like visual novels should be. Like with love interest, because like if you're, I feel like so many people just like pick characters way too easily to date without really picking their options, and so they just play the whole game, date like the first person that they're interested in, and then like date 6 other characters as the game progresses because they didn't know who they wanted to date, even though all the characters stayed present in the story. Yeah, I never remember the color, like, what the meanings are of the colors. Blue tends to be casual and straightforward, react less certain and uncommitted. Okay. Yeah, they don't all fall with that, but you know. I love how this goes. I don't want to. I feel like I'm spending a bit too much time on the tutorial, but I want everyone to be able to read it. And it's kind of long. Okay, this is it. The tutorial's done. So, I don't have. Oh wait. I'm not reading or looking. Okay. So we do have a choice in name. We can pick from the like already voiced out ones, or we can make the character then pick the name. There's a lot of names though. Like a lot. And there's like clearly no gender to the name. I'd pick a name with I'd pick it with a letter you don't usually. Alright, so I don't know. What gender should our character be? I don't know what I'm going for the skin tones. But, it doesn't really matter because we can always technically change. We can change the gender of our character at just, well, not any moment, but, in between the stages, you can change the gender and your name. I don't remember all the choices for this, so I'm going through all of it. Or black. Okay, I always liked this hairstyle. Like this front one, and I don't know why. I don't think I've ever actually played with it, though. I don't think I ever played with it. Does it really matter, though? I cannot. I have to make it myself. There's a few two-toned hair color choices. I don't really care for it. Two-toned is cool, but considering I'm like 8 at the start of this, I don't need two-toned hair. That is quite honestly just my opinion, though. If I'm gonna do like, I'm gonna pick a natural hair color for at least this first stage, because go with the medium what? The medium back or the medium front? I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to the first one. For the back hair, smooth, choppy, curled. I don't know which one's medium. Flowy, short. Oh, this one? Is this one you're talking about, or are you talking about a different medium one? Yeah, okay. We'll go with like something simple for this first hairstyle. So this one will have to wait as much as I like it. Let me just change the color of that so I can see it better. Okay, I'm not gonna do two-toned. We can do this one. Medium. I like the medium for the front hair and strand too. This one. The first medium and strands too for the front hair. I'm gonna go find this real quick. Oh, this one. I'm gonna go with the strands one. I like that one on that one looks. Or strands too. Okay, so we have black, brown, beige, yellow, I'd just say blonde, gold. I'm gonna show all the hair colors, even though we're gonna pick with natural. Orange, red, pink, purple, blue, green, gray, white, and just black. I'm just gonna put that back, because you don't actually get to change your you don't actually get to pick your last name. Blonde, okay. Beige or yellow? Because both could be considered blonde. I'm gonna go with that one, because that's a bit mellower. Alright, we can have unnatural eyes if we wanted. But I'm gonna leave them black for right now. Eye shape time. Do gray. Shit. Okay, so this is just at the start again. Oh, and here are our pronouns, by the way. They, she, he. That's what we can choose from. Yeah, the eye shape is one of the things I don't really care too much about. We'll do this one though. Face shape I usually stay with round, because I have a round face shape. That's I usually make characters have round face shapes because I have a round face. Do chubby? Okay. We have, here. Okay, so we have, this is the default one. We have tan, brown, dark brown, pale, peachy, olive, and then just tan again. I don't think the skin tone really matters though. I don't see the skin tone. Peachy. Okay. Alright. Pronouns. What pronouns should we use? That's just okay. Alright. see one I liked, but I don't remember where it was. I think it was in here. At the bottom. I'm not naming the character I'm done. I saw. Oh, it was this one.
Tokiko.
Yes. I saw it and I liked it. Next page. These are my choices for I don't actually know where that one is. So that's my other choice. These are I can't see that one. And you can kinda see that one. You can have rosy cheeks, you can have freckles. I can have different hand sizes. There's a lot of choices in this game. I can choose to have glasses or not. Let me go with chubby hands. Let me go with this birthmark and freckles. Fuck it. No glasses. So I can choose to have birthmarks and scars on other places. You just won't be able to see them. I can choose to wear pants or dresses or skirts, or I'm just gonna pick everything. Little kids don't care. I'll wear accessories. Actually, I don't like wearing hats or watches. They feel weird. Back. Actually, I'm not gonna pick any birthmarks or anything I can't see. Because, yeah, little kids don't usually wear watches. Okay, so these are our choices. This is what we've chosen. Are we done? I think we're done. I'm gonna say we're done. Done. Oh, I will be relatively quiet so you guys can hear the audio, or like the voices, because I don't know how loud they are. Since I adjusted them. Oh, sorry. I guess I should have been reading the text. I didn't read anything. There is a log, though. I can read the log, if you want us to. You guys want me to read the non-voice stuff? Because I will. I don't really care. Yes, okay. So I'll read what was happening. Okay. Summer in Sunset Bird was a special time of year. Your usually sleepy town began to bustle. It was a popular tourist destination with people coming from all over to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came with both. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of schoolless vacation with it. During the summer, your moms didn't like... Oh yes, we have moms. That's the surprise. That was the surprise that I wanted to tell you guys. We have lesbian moms. didn't like you to wander too far outside your neighborhood, so you knew the area pretty well. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly... The music is really nice, and that is perfectly fine. I don't care. Yeah, the music is really nice. It really is, especially the ending song. I love the song at the end. We'll get to that though. Where was I? Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly stayed and did what your mom called putting down roots. They built businesses and got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to the nice young kids who waved when passing their stores. Going for a walk around town mostly meant that the familiar, friendly residents waved or asked you how your family was, or most often just said hello. So, I have 3 choices. I can pick, you didn't really get why they always had to say hi. They saw you every day, but you nod back at them anyways. That's choice 1. Choice 2 is you end up saying hi to a lot of different people since most of the tourists that came and went every summer were the same ones. And option 3 is you were too anxious to say hi back to most of the other residents that greeted you, but they all knew you well enough to expect that. So we can choose to be like super shy and not like really say the bottom one. We're just gonna do the bottom one. They still smiled at you anyways. That made you feel a little more comfortable. But today there was a man sitting on the curb outside your house. He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over. You wondered if he was even a real person or a statue that had magically sprung up from the ground overnight. Whatever he was, you had never seen him before. One thing about knowing everyone in Sunset Bird was that people who you didn't recognize really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your moms call it. So for you, not knowing who a total stranger was setting off a lot of red flags. Your moms had a talk with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. Oh, we can choose to not like our sister or actually have a relationship with her. I don't think I've ever chose to actually really have a good relationship with her because of how she acts. But I digress. You hadn't exactly been listening at the time. You think it could be okay to talk to new people. That's choice 1. Choice 2 is they mentioned that some people aren't good to talk to, but other types of people you can help even if you don't know them. 3, you remember that it's okay to run away if you feel uncomfortable. You don't have to worry about being polite then. I don't have to hover. They're color-coded. But, those are our choices. I'm gonna pick the second one. You weren't sure about this man yet. Still, you felt a bit scared knowing that he was blocking the way to your front door. 2, but you were pretty interested. You wanted to know more about what was going on. 3, whether he was nice or not, you didn't want to be bothered. I forgot what some of these options were. I can reread them too, if I need to. If that helps with decisions. Here, I did eating meeny miny mo. Okay, so the colors. So if I remember correctly, I don't remember. Hang on. Save. Oh, wait. I don't remember. I'm just gonna save over these. Making it work. Yes. Tutorial. Okay, yellow, blue, and green. The colors don't mean anything specific. Okay, blue tends to be casual and straightforward. Yellow is more emotive and reactive, and green is less uncertain or uncommitted. That's what they are. Okay. Back to the game. Okay. The first one is not wanting to seem too approachable. You fold your arms and stare. Choice 2 is still unsure about him, but willing to be friendly. You offer the stranger a smile. And the third choice is your whole body was frozen in place as he approached. This one seems to make the most sense considering we just picked that you don't even say hi to, like, your neighbors. So I'm gonna pick the third one, because this one makes the most sense. I mean, since we picked that it's like, oh, we don't even wave to our neighbors. I'm just gonna pick this one. Oh, they do have voices, by the way, so I'm gonna start shutting up. Oh, right, not everything they say is voice, so I will have to be reading. I will have to say who their names are first, though. He doesn't have a name yet, it's just question marks. Do you live around here? What's your name? You look the man up and down, taking in his tanned skin and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed, the way he was acting wasn't. He had sharks on his shorts and a stingray tattoo. You wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. While you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting for you to answer his question. Okay. Choice 1, yeah, I live here. Choice 2, I live right there. My name is, I don't know how to pronounce it, but what the name we picked was. And 3 is, I say nothing. Okay, which one? There's 2 that say that I live here. The first one. That's great. By the way, I'm reading for the other characters. There's only one other character though. He looked happy to hear it, giving you a broad smile. Money! He reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean $20 bill. It crinkled in his hand as he held it up to you. Even more confused than before, you looked back at him. Well, could you do me a favor? Nothing bad. Sorry, I should have... Let me start over. He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. From where you were standing, it just made him look creepier. I have a son. His name is Cove, who's about your age. Okay, so Cove, this is choice 1. Cove, that seemed like a strange name for an actual living person to you. 2, you chewed the inside of your cheek. This guy was definitely obsessed with water. And 3, you thought it was pretty cool. I'm gonna go with the third one. You've never met anyone with that name. Cove's dad. We moved across the street. See? He gestured towards the house that had been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight and reflecting off the walls. The gigantic for sale sign was finally gone. Clove's dad. You must be Takeo Last. Yeah, our last name is Last, by the way. Right. I met your moms earlier and they told me you were 8, just like him. So, he shook the $20 bill to bring it back to your attention, a hopeful smile tilting his lips at the corners. Can you try being friends with the boy? Just give it a chance and you can keep this. He's a good kid. You'll like him.
Do you mind?
But you gotta keep it a secret too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you. Okay, so my choices are, you eyed the man, you felt kind of sorry for Cove, and did other kids really get their parents to pay for friendships? The second one, you felt. This definitely wasn't a normal way kids made friends. You knew that. Cove's dad, what do you say? Want to make a deal? Okay, so you can choose to take the money, you not take the money, or run away. So 2 of them are money related, 1 of them I just run. Because, like, I could just book it, or just take the money, don't take the money, run away. Which is really funny. I like... See, I've never picked to choose the money. I've not once picked to choose the money. You can choose to tell him about the deal and whether or not you took the money. Just to let you know. I'm not even sure about what I want to spend my money on. Sky was the limit with that kind of amount. The man smiled at you, his eyes crinkling at the sides as he did. Cove's dad, great, that's great. I'll bring him by tomorrow. I wanted him to meet and greet with the neighbors today, but, well, I don't know where he's gotten off to. He laughed when he said that, but with the way his face looked, you thought he actually wanted to cry. Because he does. Cove's dad, if you see him, can you tell him to come home? He's got a pink cast and glasses. You can't miss it. Okay, So the first choice is, can I keep this either way? Second is, sure thing. Third is, I can try. And the third option is, okay, I can try. You nod, not totally certain that you'd find Cove, but willing to look. The man smiled and reached out to pat you on the head, paused before doing so, then pulled his hand away instead. Cove's dad, your moms are already checking around for me. Such a thoughtful group you are. Cove's dad, now I better go look too. Can't put everyone else to work while I keep sitting here. Cove's dad, I thought he might come back, and that's not what's important. I have to go. Thanks again so much. I'm not gonna read out the name out loud. He jogged down the street without another word. You decide to check the hills behind your house. Okay, we're now officially entering step 1. The chirping of crickets in the tall grass greeted you, quiet and familiar. Can we poke him? I don't know. From the top of the hill, you could see the ocean. As you walked, you listened to the crash of waves on the shore and the seagulls squawking as they settled down for the night. Choice 1, you always loved the ocean. It was so much fun. Choice 2, you loved to hear stories about the sea, about the merfolk and the sea serpents you imagined living far beneath the waves. And 3, you didn't enjoy the beach all that much, especially the sand, which got absolutely everywhere. You like the last two? I'm gonna go with the merfolk and the sea serpents. Sometimes you could almost convince yourself you had seen a flash of a shiny mermaid's tail in the distance. You took in a deep breath. You want to try and relax, and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you that you weren't alone, so you glanced around. There was a boy sitting on top of the hill, almost completely hidden within the long grass and white flowers surrounding him. By the way, he does have, mint green hair. I wouldn't say really mint green. I'd say mint green. It is very bright green, though. His head was buried in his knees, staring ahead by himself. For whatever reason, probably just because he wasn't paying attention, he hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling kind of a bit like you found a deer in the wild. Though the deer didn't have... Okay. We have green hair, wavy eyebrows, huge glasses, pink cast, or sad frowns. Pink. But this new boy did. You wondered where he got it. After a few more seconds, you took a step forward, then another, and then he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him and show you weren't scary. Okay, so we have hi, hey space cadet, and are you lost? Hi. With the start, he jumped to his feet, his hands balling into his fist at his sides. He didn't say anything, he just stared at you in a strange way. He'd been crying. There were traces of tears on his cheeks and his knees, soaked at the hem of his shorts, and his eyes were still shining with a few more. You obviously caught him off guard. His pink cast seemed to glow in the twilight, though when he caught you staring at it, he hid his arm behind his back. Something the man earlier had said to you stuck out. Cove? Ah. His eyes wide. He studied you. Cove, how did you know that? You touched the money in your pocket, feeling it crinkled behind your fingertips. I met your dad. I'm all-knowing. Lucky guess. The second one. I'm all-knowing. Cove, that's a lie. Tell the truth. Okay, your dad told me who you were.
Oh.
Cove, Oh, well, never mind. I didn't have to say Heath voice down. Cove, so is this your hill? He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect. Cove, I can leave if it is. Yep, you can't own a hill, and you shook your head. You can't own a hill. Cove, why not? How could you? Cove, you just do. I had a hill back home. Well, this still isn't mine. Cove, oh. He sat back down with a thump, resting his chin on his knees again. Curious about the strange new boy with the odd dad, you sat on the patch of grass next to him. Pure white flowers that covered this hill rocked back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made them seem like flowers, too. The night wind was cool as it traveled over the ocean up and up the hill, chasing away the heat from the afternoon sun. Why are you here? Why'd your family move? Why are you here? I will pick a few of these so you guys don't have to pick all of them. A quiet hiccup escaped Cove as soon as you asked the question. Almost like if they'd never stop, his tears started again with a vengeance. Cove, my parents, they don't want to live together with me anymore. The tears fell fast and heavy over his flushed cheeks, sticking to his dark lashes. Cove, my mom made my dad leave and he took me with him, and now we have a house here and I want to go home. The outburst took you off guard, but by the time he was done wailing, Cove's chest was heaving with exhaustion. He sniffled again and removed his glasses, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand before putting them back on again. Cove, I hate this place. I want my real life back. I want my mom. Okay, so, I'm sorry. Your dad seems kinda nice. You'll like it here, you just have to get used to it, and stop crying. I'm gonna tell you right now, if we want to be friends with this kid, stop crying is not a choice. The first one. Okay. He slipped his hand under his glasses and pressed his fingers against his eyelids. Cove wound himself up again for another long crying fit. You felt bad for him being forced to come here with no choice. You couldn't imagine what it would be like to live with only one of your moms, but it must be pretty hard. But from way off the distance, you hear your parents. So we have Mommy and Mom.
Cove?
And Cove's dad. Kids, where are you? Cove looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks. Cove, don't tell him we're here.
I want to go home.
I don't want to go back to that house. I want to go home. Okay, you can handle it. You have to go. Don't worry so much. Sorry, I have to. It'll be okay. We have 5 options. Can handle it. You have to go. Don't worry so much. Sorry, I have to. It'll be okay. You were struck by a sudden need to reassure Cove. It's not gonna be all be fun, but isn't he your family too? Cove, yeah, I guess. Then can you count on him when you really, really need him? You shot him a grin and pushed yourself to your feet. Slowly, Cove stood with you, still looking a bit reluctant. His dad's voice rang out again. Cove said, Cove, can you hear me? He looked toward the sound of his dad's voice, silent, then turned away while rubbing his not bandaged arm.
Sorry.
Cove, sorry. I still don't want to go. You called out yourself, you wait silently with him, you tried to convince him. the second one. Yeah, I get it. Cove, you do? Before you could answer, you hear Cove's dad, even closer than before. Cove's dad, there you are, bud. The trio of parents appeared over the curve of a hill. Instantly, all their eyes landed on you, and they rushed over. Both of your moms were at your side in a split second, faces filled with worry. Our moms are so pretty in this. I'm gonna be completely transparent. They're so pretty. I feel like that doesn't sound like a very Arrow Ace thing to say. But, like, they are pretty. I guess it is. Because you can just admit someone's pretty without, like, there being anything. I call my mom pretty, so I guess it's fine. I read that already. Mom, I don't remember which one's which. You're here after all. Mommy. We had been at the park to check for Cove, then we heard what happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off further away. No, we were just sitting in the grass. Why is everyone acting like this is a big thing? We're okay, don't worry. Cove didn't want to go home just yet. We're okay. Thank God you're both fine. I'm assuming this one is Mommy and this one's Mom. I don't remember. Mom, were you two having fun out here? You looked over at Cove, who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing at his arms. You shrugged. Yes, I like him. He's good. I think I'm gonna marry him. Shrug. Mom 1, Mom 2. He's new here. It was okay. Finally letting go of his squirming, scowling son, Cove's dad turned to the three of you.
That's a relief.
Thank you very much for finding him. I really don't know this neighborhood. Mom 2. This is Mom 2. Good thing, they know this whole area so well. Cove's dad, absolutely, we should be getting home now. It's a long day for all of us. Say goodbye, Cove.
Bye.
Cove. Nevermind, I didn't have to say it. The two of them walked off into the darkness, heading towards the neighborhood. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared. Mom, tell you what, we'll have a proper play date tomorrow, okay? Your new friend's dad wanted him to bring him by to see you and Lizzie. Mom 2. How does that sound? Sure, can I show him my stuff? It sounds like words. You nod, ducking your head down. Sounds like words. Both of your moms laughed, the sound of overlapping into a warm, familiar chorus. Mom 2 put her arm around your shoulder and led you towards the path. Satisfied and more than a little ready to go to bed after your long, exciting day, you followed them home. Okay, so this is how you feel towards Cove. For this step, it can change in later steps. So I can choose to be indifferent to him, fond of him, or have a crush on him. I can choose to be direct, relaxed, or nervous. There's comfort and there's interest. They're kind of two different things, but they do play a bit into each other. Relaxed and indifferent. I won't be able to change this until step 2. Yes. Early the next morning, you were poking at your food, eating it slowly. Your sister Lizzie had ran out earlier to go play, but you stayed put. Today, just like your mom had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out. Mom, excited to see your new friend again? Maybe we can become friends.
Okay.
With that said, are you done with breakfast? Yeah, I don't know, am I? Your bowl was entirely empty, so you nodded. Second one. Yeah, because you can choose to act differently around different people. You gesture down to your empty dish in front of you, raising your eyebrows dramatically.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Mom, too. Okay, we see. Mom, good job. He should be here soon. Cleanup began, and then, on cue, there was a knock. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure they were at the right place. Still loud, though. Mom, too. We need to get a more obvious doorbell. I know, Mom, I know. Could you get it? Can I get it? Yes. Because Mom said so, you wandered over to the door. Cove's dad, hey, last family, thanks for having us. Mr. Holden, as your moms have called him, and his son were here. I forgot his name was that. Cove looked different in the bright lighting of your living room, and when he wasn't crying. With his dad standing in front of him, Mom and Mom too behind you, you and Cove looked at each other. You studied Cove apathetically. This was the parents' plan, not yours. Not seeming any more excited than you were, he just stared back. You twisted the threaded bracelet on your wrist. You twisted the crystal bead bracelet on your wrist. You twisted... Okay, so I have 4 choices of a bracelet. I have like a thread bracelet, like a crystal bracelet, flower beads, or shells. These ones are color-coded, I don't really know why. Everything's color-coded, but... Let's go with the flower one. Okay. Mom, do you want to go play in your room? Sure. Come on, it's upstairs.
Okay.
Go. Okay.
Take care.
Mom, too. Let us know if you need anything, you do. Oh, by the way, if I don't say a name before speaking, it's either me or it's like narration. Like my character. Mom, have fun, kids.
See you.
Cove said, see you later, son. Play nice. You lead him up to your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. There were a lot of stuffed animals, a cool bed, and a window to look out. It was a great room. You hadn't shown it to anyone in a while, but you were really proud of it. He leaned in. Yes, he leaned in a little closer to one of your drawings on the wall. Cove, I like this. Me too. I drew that. Thank you. I don't. Me too. Cove, okay. You smiled at him. You were proud of that particular piece of art, and you were glad he noticed it. He turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on your desk and the pictures on the wall. You started to feel a bit nervous. You felt the atmosphere was kind of awkward. You were glad for the company. You hoped he liked your room. Glad for the company. It was nice to have someone new to play with. Then his eyes landed on a tiny box of beach things you'd collected, tucked away by your door. He took a step towards it before hesitating and pointing at it. Cove, what's that? A hoard of stuff I found on the beach.
Oh.
Do you have any driftwood in there? Dragging the box in the middle of the room, you and Cove flopped down next to it. I think so. Yeah. See? You gestured to a piece at the bottom, still covered with specks of sand.
Neat.
Cove, neat. This is a good collection. You got a sense from the tone of his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice or to be like Shillen. He actually meant it. Oh right, I almost forgot. Shillen's gonna be here today. Shillen? Lizzie's friend, or like her #1 fan, I guess. Cove, do I have to see him? It should be okay. I mean, he's Lizzie's friend, not mine, but you know. Come on, let's check out my shell some more. I found this one under a big piece of seaweed that had washed ashore, and you pull out seashell after seashell, explaining where you had gotten each one, holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small ones, pink, purple, and orange. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. Over the past few years, you've even learned some of their scientific names. The collection was so huge and varied that you had lots of funny stories to tell for all of them. Your voice faltered a bit, but you kept going as best as you could. I'm gonna pick the top one. You had a whole picture book dedicated to shells and sea life. You learned a lot by flipping through its pages. Apparently fascinated either by the stories or the shells themselves, Cove listened with what looked like to be the full force of his attention. It was a new experience to be the center of such a dedicated focus, even if it was only directed at the shells. Mom, 2 kids, come down to the living room. You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mom 2 wasn't giving you much of a chance to hang around. Cove hadn't been like this meeting you, guessed it was because he thinks you found each other by accident, not that the parents made it happen. Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was apart would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you'd both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room, ready for Shillen's visit. The 2 of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway. I brought the box of shells. I wanted to keep looking at them. Great, okay, be careful, you should have asked. Great. Bust it open. We can keep looking at it while we wait for Shillen. Cove reached in and pulled out a big orange shell. Oh! Like he hadn't spoken aloud yet. He turned to you, held it up, his eyes shining. I think this one is the best of them. This is my favorite too. I like the different one best. I can show it to you. You can take it. Cove looked at you in surprise, his eyes going wide. Really? Sure, you like it a lot, right? Cove, but I don't want to take it from you. It's okay. You got the impression he was hesitant to accept something because he didn't know you very well yet. Insist or let it go. I can insist he takes it, or I can let it go. First one, you insist. No, it's okay. No, it's okay for you. You push a shell against Cove's chest, willing him to receive the present, but Cove firmly shook his head and kept his arms tightly at his sides. It was a battle you couldn't win, at least not today. Cove was your neighbor now. Maybe you could give it to him another time. The 2 of you were still sitting on the floor looking through your collection of beach findings when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person hadn't knocked, you figured it was probably Shillen. He knew where to look for that. Cove, Lizzie's friend? You nodded, but it didn't seem to make Cove feel better. It was already obvious that Cove didn't hide his feelings well. You could tell what he was thinking right away. This isn't a good idea. You'll be alright. He's here. We can't tell him to leave. He's only at our door, and if you go upstairs, he'll find you. Cove glanced around the room, his eyes wide, finally paused with his gaze locked on the back of the house. I can go out the window. He was already walking towards it, scrambling to think of something to say. You step forward and pause. Do you want to break your arm? Shilin is the least scary person alive. Cheer up, Shilin's gonna like you. Please don't get hurt. I'll come with you. Good idea. Let's go. The first one kind of sounds like a kind of jerk thing to say. Honestly. Good idea, let's go. Hurry, they'll see where we're going. Glanced at you, then nodded. The two of you made your way out the window together. It wasn't much of a distance to clamber out. By the time you had landed gently in the bushes, you look up to see Cove was already taking off away from the house. He was fast, but you knew you could outrun him if you had to. He was not that fast. You could outrun him if you had to. He was fast, but he was not fast, but neither were you. At that speed, you weren't sure if you would be fast enough to reach him. I can choose whether or not I'm slow or fast. Or if we're both relatively slow. The third one. Okay. Cove, I'm coming. You ran as fast as your legs would take you, grass whipping around your ankles as you did so. Cautiously, Cove slowed to a halt and looked back at you. Where are you going? Cove, I don't know. Somewhere else. I just don't want to see, us. You looked back and saw Shilin huffing down the hill after you, his backpack cluttered and bouncing all the way along. Where are you going? Can I come? He must have seen you leaving out the window and followed behind.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Shilin. I don't remember how to pronounce it. Hi, are you Cove?
Yeah.
Cove. Yeah. I'm Shilon. Cove. Okay. Shilin. Yep, are we going back or are we gonna play outside? Shillin's eyes moving between you and Cove. A smile remained strong on his face. It got a tiny frown from Cove in response. You were just grateful that he hadn't asked why you had been running away. Cove, inside, we left the box on the floor. Right, my shells and stuff, we have to make sure they're okay.
Okay.
Shilin, okay. That Shilin trailing behind you and Cove headed back towards the house. The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach thing some more. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else. Hey, check out the scallop shell I found. Cool, right? Cove, it's a pretty color, kind of like my cast. Yeah, we get caught. The beautiful glittering pink did look a bit like the wrap around his arm. Shilin, pink is a nice color. Cove, okay.
Oh?
Shilin, is it your favorite? Cove, not really. Shilin, what is? Cove, maybe green or blue. It might be yellow. Shilin, oh, those are all cool.
I guess.
Cove, I guess. I like those colors too. There are better colors. Not sure how to deal with the suddenly more awkward silence. You look back at your shells. Shilin, like usual, it didn't take long for Shilin to get fidgety. Lizzie was his favorite, and without her around, Shilin didn't know what to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. Wasn't much like you either. Shilin, is Lizzie coming back? Cove, don't know. Shilin, where did she go? I think she's at the beach, probably. Shilin, is she playing at her park? Cove's eyes lit up at the mention of a park. He looked towards you. Cove, there's a park? Yeah, but it's old. Cove, can you show me? I want to go. He started getting up before you even answered. Shilin jumped up beside him in excitement. Shilin, really? You do too, right? The park is fun. I love it. The park is pretty great. No. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Shilin, yeah. It's right at the beach, so there's a lot of fun stuff to do and lots of sand. It has a jungle gym and a bunch of swings. Cove, that sounds like it could be cool. Shilin, are we going to find Lizzie? Cove, I don't know. I don't really want to see her. I just want to check out the park. Adrift without any direction, Shilin finally turns to you. Okay. He perked up. Both boys wanted to go. It was only fair. After getting permission from your moms, the three of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced your moms that it was so short, she should always be allowed to walk there by herself. When you found her, she was hanging on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey, Lizzie. Her face lit up when she saw you, her big brown eyes going wide. Me and Shilin, hi. She dropped down to the ground, landing with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shilin had abandoned you two, scrambling over to stand near her. You were used to being left out when it came to the three of you, but now Cove was here. You weren't sure if this was an improvement. Lizzie, who's that? She's very rude. Shilin, it's Cove. He's new.
Hi.
Lizzie, I remember. Hi, Cove. Welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together. She gestured widely with her arms to present the area to the newcomer. Without interrupting Lizzie's speech, Cove whispered in your ear, quiet enough that the others wouldn't hear. Cove, I thought kids couldn't own a place like parks or hills. You couldn't help but laugh a tiny bit. While Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wriggle your toes through the warm sand. Lizzie, nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the only one who comes up with the ideas. Cove, you are?
Uh-huh.
Lizzie, yeah, I am. Who else could handle the job? I think, if I remember correctly, Lizzie is the oldest and Shilin is the youngest out of the four of us. Shilin, Lizzie is the oldest. Lizzie, by a lot. My mom says that you're my age.
Yeah.
Cove, yeah. Lizzie, thought so. I'm the only one in this group with double digits. Cove, what about the other kids? Shilin, other kids? Lizzie, there aren't any. We're the only kids here. Shilin is just visiting from another place. Not even tourists bring their kids here. This is a land of ancients. Be careful that the oldies don't try to steal your youth.
Oh.
Cove, oh. For a second, he looked like he might cry again, but something in his eyes shifted and he looked back at Lizzie. Cove, what kind of old people? Like moms and dads or grandparents? Lizzie, grandparents who don't even have kids. They hate kids. They're just old people. Cove, why? We haven't done anything. Only some of them don't like kids. Stop saying stuff like that. You're gonna upset him. Yeah, they're really bad. Yeah, Lizzie's kinda mean for like the first, step. You interject quickly, hoping Lizzie won't take things too far. Cove sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Shilin was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation. I met Lizzie and me in school. You'll see tons of kids there once summer is over. Cove, I don't want to go to new school. I don't want summer to end. Shilin looked down at the dirt. He hadn't had much luck striking up conversations with Cove. Shilin, I like summer vacation a lot too. All the building tension in the air suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed at Shilin's discomfort and how weird she thought Cove was at something else entirely you didn't really know, but she laughed, face scrunching up.
Okay.
Lizzie, welcome to Sunset Bird Cove. Take a seat, put up your feet, and get used to it. Cove. Is right. For the rest of the summer, Cove was always there. You saw him more often than Shilin on some days. When she was in a bad mood or busy, you saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life, the way sun and lunch and the beach were. That first summer, you hadn't really been interested in one way or another. He was just kind of a fact of life, someone you met with because he was there. Of course, that was the only start of things. Okay, so these are moments. I don't think I can do these. I don't have the deals. Oh, I can! I don't remember what I just picked. We're doing this. Every year the Sunset Bird... I already picked one on accident. Every year the Sunset Bird Memories Memorial Library held a summer reading program. Your moms and Lizzie were big fans of it. Mom and Mom too, because it encouraged reading, and Lizzie because she could win prizes. When it came to what you thought about having to read a bunch of books, then going to the library with a competitive Lizzie. I can say you love it, you don't really care, or I hate it. Love it, don't care, hate it. I thought I couldn't click on them because it said DLC on top. I could, so I accidentally clicked on one. Don't care. It was just something you did every year. You didn't question it much. Lizzie didn't like when you teased her during the teen quiz, but she seemed to like it when you were there helping her either way. You and Lizzie went with Sheldon before, and this year you brought Cove too. His dad had been over the moon about Cove being included, that he had driven all four of you. You had never been in Cove's dad's car before. It seemed a lot shinier than your mom's. After hurting the group inside, Mr. Holden gave you all a wide wave with the arm that had a stingray on it. Have fun! Stay inside of the librarians, you hear. I wish I could watch you in action, but your poor old dad has to finish up some work.
I got it.
Though I'm sure that won't get in the way. Heck, I'll probably hold you kids back. There was pointedly no reply from his son over what was likely meant only to be a joke. Cove's dad seemed to deflate a bit. Cove, I'll swing around when this shindig ends. Yeah, Cove, yeah, you can go home now. God damn. Cove said, aw, you don't have to throw me out the door, Your sister already in full competitive mode. Cut him off for once. Cove looked grateful she was there.
Come on!
Lizzie, we have a fun table, Mr. Holden. You can talk to Cove after when we win. Okay. See you in about an hour. Have fun. Did I say that already? My advanced age is really catching up to me now.
Bye.
Bye, Dad. Bye, son. The four of you watched him shuffle out the library, glancing over his shoulder at Cove more than once. Bye, Mr. Holden. Thank you for bringing us. Thanks, Lizzie. I don't know what you're thanking me for. Are you copying Shillen? Distracted, Cove was already glancing around the gigantic library. I want to go explore. What? I said I want to go look around and see what's in here. The quiz starts soon. That's why we came. The first signs of conflict, Shillen's eyes darted between Lizzie and Cove. Then you can do it without me, right? You don't need a bunch of people. Didn't your dad say stay with the librarians? You shouldn't go Shillen, you shouldn't go somewhere by yourself. Cove, leveled and unimpressed, stared at both, and then his eyes met yours. Cove's idea is more fun. I'll stick with Lizzie. I'd rather go exploring. The quiz sounds better. Go over to Cove, stay next to Lizzie. I'm just gonna silently... My eyes are closed. I'm just gonna keep doing this until I pick one. Alright, eyes open now. Alright. You walk over to Cove, averting your eyes from Lizzie.
Seriously?
Cove looked surprised, but happy at the same time. He never really thought about exploring the library before. It sounded more fun than the same old thing. Lizzie, ugh. Fine, let's go, Shillen. Okay. Her arms folded, your sister stormed off. Shillen had raced to keep up with her. Cove, she cares a lot about that. That's just how Lizzie is. Cove, I don't like it. Since you've been here a lot before, we could play hide and go seek. Hide and seek, not exploring. Yep, if I'm searching for you and you're searching for me, we really have to look at everything. You weren't entirely sure on how effective that would be, but he couldn't say he was totally wrong. Cove, I'll hide first. Decision made. Cove took off towards the back of the library. You'd already agreed to play with him instead, so you covered your face and waited for 10 seconds. When you looked up again, he was nowhere to be seen. You glanced over towards the way he went. Cove hadn't had much time to hide, but he was already invisible. The place you decided to check was... Peter Pan poster behind the fairy tale display or behind the solar system model. Solar system. Your library's solar system display was pretty neat. It had all the planet from the sun on out, and it had its own little section hidden in the science books. You saw a tiny pair of familiar shoes poking out from under Earth, so you leaned around it. Hey there,
Hey.
Cove. Oh hey. He turned back to the Earth and its tiny moon. Go from this spot. I think it's supposed to be a solar eclipse. Cove. It kind of blocks out the sun. You look at it, tilting your head. He was right. This was something you always walked by, but you'd never noticed that before. Hide and Seek did seem to be working about finding out interesting things.
Okay.
Cove, your turn now. I'm gonna cover my eyes and count to 10. I promise I won't peek. While Cove had his eyes securely behind the palm of his hand, you went to hide. Fire station awareness near stuffed animals, under a giant piece of fruit, by the Outlaw poster, and the fantasy section near the toddler books. We have a lot of choices here. I'm thinking the last one, the toddler section. Cove would never look in the toddler books, by the toddler books, you thought. It was pretty hard, but it was a pretty hard place. By the time you committed to it, you realized you stuck out like a sore thumb. It took Cove almost no time to find you. God damn it. The two of you stared at each other past a horde of stressed moms and fussy kids. You're just standing there. I thought it would be a better hiding place. I thought there was a better hiding place in this section. It does look bigger than it is, huh? So it's all the upset people in here. It makes this whole space seem smaller. Looking behind the building block chairs and the child-proof edges, Cove shrugged.
All right.
Cove, it's my turn again. Start counting so I can pick a spot. Okay. Cove darted off before you even had a chance to fully close your eyes. One Mississippi. When the time was up, he was long gone again. There were still a lot of good places to hide, so you figured he was next to the old Christmas stuff, near the Kid Detective poster, behind the Willy Wonka statue. Don't ask me what time, what year this takes place in, because I have no idea. I'm gonna pick next to the Kid Detective poster. Figured he was probably near the poster with a gigantic image of a smirking kid detective. Cove could have hidden in that itty-bitty tiny reading section near it. Glancing past the poster itself, your brain registers the words, Junie B. Jones, don't call her Beatrice, in big, imposing letters. You pause to stare at it for a second, thinking, why would I call her Beatrice if her name is Junie? Shaking your head to clear away the distraction, you tiptoed to see who was sitting in the comfort chair. Sure enough, it was Cove, but he was so absorbed in the book he was reading, he hadn't even noticed you yet. I don't think most people read while playing hide-and-go-seek. Cove glanced up at you in one rough motion. Oh, hi. I wasn't sure when you'd get here. It took a while. Not that long. Cove, it could have been worse, but it could have been better. Let's keep playing. I'm doing good. He put his hand over his eyes before you could run off again. The librarian approached to you. Ah, kids, I've been looking for you. Cove peeked between his fingers at the strangers. Cove, us? You must be Cove. Your dad told me he was waiting by the entrance. Cove blinked, mouth open like he was gonna say something, then glanced at his pink cast. It was a pretty clear giveaway. Cove, sure. Is my sister Lizzie with them? She's taller than us and has orange hair. Yes, right. You nodded. Phew, I found both of you at once. That's right, she's with them, and the little guy with freckles. Come on, let's get you reunited so we can close up for the night. Ready to go home, you and Cove follow him up front, where the ragtag group of family members and children were waiting.
Hey!
Lizzie, there you are. She was pouting. You could only tell from all the way across the room that it was much more obvious as you got closer. Cove, did you win? Shillin, we came in second. Hey, gang. I thought you'd have been with them the whole time, Cove. I'm glad you didn't just go off by yourself, at least. Glanced over at you, then back at his dad.
Yeah.
Cove, me too. A broad smile spread over Mr. Holden's face.
That's...
Cove, even so, next time you should... Cove, Cove's dad glanced around, but Cove, just like always, had snuck off without anything to say. He's leaving. Cove's trying to be the first one to the car. With a sudden burst of speed, Lizzie darted towards the exit, still in the victor-to-be mode, even for something like a race to ride in the front seat. There was nothing else for the three to do except head after them, pretending the librarians hadn't noticed all the commotion. Though Lizzie had been victorious in claiming the window seat of the car, you could tell by her crossed arms and occasional pouts, she had not forgiven your betrayal. Cove hadn't been happy that she'd shot past him at the last second, and that he'd had to sit in the middle between you and Shillen. Did you say you came in second place? That's some good going.
No.
Lizzie, no it's not. She leaved another glare at you over her shoulder.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Striving to improve is good too. Cove, I was winning in our game. Hardly. I was about to beat you. Lizzie, hide and seek with just you two? That doesn't even count as winning. Cove, why not? Lizzie, it's not special. There's no judges or prizes. You eyed the seat she'd fought so hard to win. There wasn't much of a prize either, Cove. Dad. Yes. You could see in Cove's eyes, and Cove's dad and I were suddenly attentive at his son's call. Cove, we need a prize. As a matter of fact, focused intently on the road, as he thought of a suitable reward to please Cove that might appear before him. Right. Cove, the big thing on the flyer for this was a chance to win a free pizza coupon, wasn't it? How about I just call it takeout place and we have pizza at home for dinner? Lizzie huffed and pulling her arms closer to her chest. Lizzie, great. Now only Cove gets anything good. Hey there, I'll ask your moms if it's alright. If it'll be alright for you kids to have some. Cove. Us. Thanks, Cove's dad. Thank you, Mr. Holden. Yeah, Cove. Yeah, thanks, Dad. Cove's dad, you're welcome. I'll do what I can. But you really should have stuck with the group. The quiz would have been fun. That was the plan when I dropped you off. Cove, we stayed together. We didn't leave the library. Cove said, I'm glad for that. I am. Well, there's a lot of trouble you can get into even if you do have a buddy along for the ride. Just be careful next time. I worry about you, and I bet our parents wouldn't want them to run off unexpectedly either. Okay, son?
Okay.
Cove. Okay. Cove, that's my boy. Now, enough of your guff from your old dad. Let's decide what kind of toppings we're gonna eat. Pepperoni. Sounds good. Anything else? Ew. With debates on the best to put on the pizza, Mr. Holden wanted anchovies. The other three kids in the car had to band together to explain how gross that was. The way Cove's dad laughed up front made you wonder if he was doing that on purpose. Still, a promise of pizza was appealing, even if it did come with the mandatory side, or even if it did have to come with the mandatory side order of Cove. Hang on. Ew, I don't like pepperoni. I keep looking out my window trying to see if my mom is here, because I'm gonna have to go on BRB because she got groceries. You were glad you decided to not do the quiz this time, and we're already curious about how things would play out next year. Okay, let me save real quick. Just gonna save over this. Alright, I'm gonna leave the music to play, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it on BRB. I will be right back. Let me just put something up, like text-wise. How do you spell groceries? God damn, I can't spell. Why did I capitalize groceries? Alright, I'm back. Alright, thank you. Alright, also, woo! Okay. Volvin, is there any one of these that, interest you? We can do all of them. But is there any one in particular? We didn't. Not a whole ton's happened. I've been on my BRB screen for a bit. So, this one, the library one, we, so this one we went to, like, right before you left. Okay. So far what has happened is that, like, I don't know exactly when you left, but Cove, at this point, we're just doing, like, okay, so these are moments. They're, like, things you do during the summer. So, like, this one, we went to the library, and I could have chose to do, like, because it's, like, a book quiz or something. I chose not to do it. I chose to do, like, hide and go seek with Cove in the library. Well, that's what collectively was decided, was to do hide and go seek in the library. These ones are all, I haven't done the DLC ones before. I've done these ones before. This one, it gets a little heated. Sleepover. Okay.
Okay.
Alright, kid. Alright, Mom. Alright, we're done with dinner. Come to the table. Your stomach grumbled right on time, as if it had heard your mom's words. You halted your game and looked over. Mom was almost done setting the table. She was walking around with the mahogany wood in process of putting down cutlery. Mom, too, was still in the kitchen, humming under her breath as she turned off the stove and put the empty pots in the sink to wash. From beside you, Lizzie stirred, uncrossing her legs and standing up. She stretched her arms above her head. Lizzie, finally, I'm ready to eat. Then she cast a sly glance in your direction. You recognize that look. Lizzie, last one to the table is a rotten egg. I haven't, but it was too late. Lizzie had already bolted towards the kitchen. Tried to catch up, stayed seated. You yelled at her, you threw a cushion at her. What are these choices are so random, but also very kid-like. The last one, I threw a cushion at her. Grabbing one of the cushions from the sofa, you threw it towards her. It hit her in the back of the legs. It was too soft to do any real consequence. She merely brushed off the attack with a scowl. It was a short distance to the kitchen table. Lizzie managed to get there easily enough, slapping her hand over the wood. Mom moved just before Lizzie could bump into her. With an exasperated sigh, she resumed her work. Lizzie, I win again. You didn't win because you were racing by yourself, because you cheated. Okay, you won. You didn't bother trying to talk to her about it. You didn't win because I like, this top one is very snarky. It's funny and it's snarky. Third one. Okay, you won. I knew it. That means you're the rotten egg. Lizzie grinned, her hands on her hips, then looked over your shoulder. Lizzie, Cove, you think so too, right? You blinked. You'd almost forgotten about him. The fact that Cove preferred to keep to himself didn't help matters either. You spotted Cove still on the floor, his legs crossed beneath him, the arm with the cast resting in his lap. He looked at the two with you with a slight frown. It's at first strange to see him still here so late. Tonight, Cove had come over to your house for a sleepover. Your mom's and his dad had planned it a few days ago. You weren't surprised. You overheard your moms discussing it before. You hadn't expected it when your moms told you, but you didn't mind him. Cove sleeping over. The idea made you uncomfortable. He was going to sleep in your room. I'm gonna pick the second one. It was just for one night, and even if he's not really your friend, he isn't the worst person in the world. Cove pursed his lips at Lizzie's question, but he didn't respond. Maybe he was planning on ignoring her, not that Lizzie would make it easy.
Come on.
Well, did I win or what? Cove still didn't respond. He turned away, refusing to weigh in. Lizzie glorled. I don't know what that is, but it had no effect. Fine, you don't have to say so. You both can be rotten eggs. Mom, that's enough. Nobody here is a loser or rotten egg. You're each farm fresh. Which is a sentence I never thought I'd say.
All right.
Now listen to Mom and come sit at the table for dinner, all three of you. You and Lizzie obeyed, sitting across from each other at the edge of the table. Lizzie blew a raspberry at you and Mom turned her back. Your parents brought the last of the food, then they took seats further down the table, instead of sitting right next to you and Lizzie. Yes. Only Cove was left. He stood up from his spot on the floor, but hadn't made any move towards the kitchen. Cove, you can sit too. Slowly, he turned his eyes to the 4 seats that were left, thanks to the new sitting arrangement your parents chose. One free chair was beside you, another next to Lizzie, and the last 2 were on either side of where your moms were sitting. You can sit next to me, you can sit anywhere you want, you stayed quiet. I like how many choices this game gives you. Sit anywhere you want. He hung his head and scuttled past you, Lizzie, and your mom's. Cove went to the chair on the opposite edge of the table and sat down. Seemed far away is what he wanted. Your mom's frowned. You shrugged it off and turned back to your plate. Now that everyone was situated, Mom began to pass out plates.
Okay.
Digging kids, I cooked a little bit of everything for dinner tonight. Be sure to not avoid all of the vegetables.
Ugh.
Lizzie, yes, Mom. Each person at the table served themselves except for one. Cove hesitated again. He fidgeted with his hands, clamped on top of his knees. He didn't seem very comfortable doing stuff in someone else's house. One dish seemed to have his eye at least. It's pineapple chicken. You want to try some? Not really. Sorry. Then your moms had noted that Cove still had nothing on his plate as well. Mom too, do you not like any of the food, honey? Maybe he hasn't tried Hawaiian food before. He hasn't. Wow, this is Lizzie Miller. Mom too, please don't talk with your mouth full, Lizzie. Lizzie swallowed the bite she was eating and spoke again. Lizzie, he should try it now. She turned to Cove dramatically. Unless you want to shrink, that's what happens when you miss a meal. Mom, Elizabeth, that's not true. You know that. Cove squirmed under all the attention, fidgeted with his fork between his fingers. Cove, I'd had some things, just not any of this.
Oh, shoot.
Mom too, oh shoot, I knew I should have asked your dad what your favorite foods were. Mom, it's alright, Lonnie. Maybe he'll find a new favorite today. We weren't so sure about that. Cove didn't look like he was going to be trying the food anytime soon. I think you'd like the pineapple chicken. Cove. Eventually, Cove carefully spooned rice and pineapple onto his plate. Maybe it was because he didn't know what else to do at that point. You saw he avoided the veggies entirely. Your mom's let him get away with not taking the vegetables. At first, Cove poked at the food. Clearly, he was apprehensive to eat something new, but he took a few exploratory bites.
Right?
Lizzie, it's good, huh? Isn't it? Cove, you don't have to keep asking. He speared more meat with his fork and ate it, chewing thoughtfully. Cove, it's not bad. Mom too grinned at his words, satisfied, even though it wasn't exactly glowing commendation. Lizzie wasn't as moved. Lizzie, you're so weird. Mom too, don't be mean to your friend, Cove. We're not friends. Oh. Mom too floundered in the face of Cove's blunt honesty. It seemed strange your mom too was taken aback by the news. When had they gotten along, and you didn't consider yourself to be friends with him either. You had gotten used to seeing him around a lot of the summer, but the two of you hadn't struck anything that could count as a friendship. Your mom too looked at Mom and only got a shrug.
No.
Elizabeth, don't call someone weird. There is no such thing as a weird person and a non-weird person. They're just different perspectives. Mom 2, it's not nice to say a nice thing to say to anyone but Pam. Mom 2 tried to whisper exclusively to her mom in an attempt to make it audible over the sound of clanking silverware. You caught the words anyways. They're not friends, he said so. As a parent, we can only try, and sometimes we fail. Not all kids will be as thick as thieves. Now, less talking, more eating. Kids, you need to clean up and start winding down for bed soon. Lizzie, but Mom... No buts. We've talked about this. Your bedtime will be moved back in a few years. For now, you don't get to stay up late. Lizzie sulked, muttering under her breath about how it wasn't right. You left at Mom's phrasing, you groaned about it as well, you stayed quiet and finished your meal. It was good food, and you were pretty content to just keep eating. That's a good idea. Good job. Everyone else got it? The rest of dinner passed uneventfully. Cove was silent for most of it, even when your moms attempted to include him in conversation. All too soon, the table was cleared, the games in the living room were put away, and you were all steered to your bedrooms. Mom finished you tucking in and kissed your brow, just as Mom 2 poked her head in the room, all ready for the lights off. You two. You were lying comfortably in your bed, the blanket hiked up under your armpits. You could kick it off later if it got too hot. Mom had set up a sleeping bag on the floor for Cove, just beside your bed. He had already wriggled inside. You nodded for both of you in response to Mom 2's question.
Good night.
Perfect. I'll say goodnight to Lizzie then. Mom tweaked your nose, chuckled when you squawked in annoyance, and left. Mom 2 took her place sitting on the edge of the bed.
Sweet dreams.
Oh. She pressed a soft kiss on your forehead, and you giggled as strands of her hair fell down and tickled you. Mom 2 smiled at you affectionately and moved her attention to Cove, who was watched. Do you need anything for falling asleep, honey? What does your dad do? Sometimes he picks me up and lifts me in the air really high and shakes his hands like he's gonna let go, but he catches me again. He keeps doing that until sometimes he drops me on my bed, or other times he lowers me down and pretends we're crashing. Cove had become pretty excited when talking about the night ritual he and his dad shared. He seemed to realize how animated he was, but I don't want to do that here.
Aww.
Huh? How fun. Though I think you're right, it might not be a good idea to do that tonight. The sleeping bag may not be soft enough for landing. Is there anything else you can always ask me or our other mom? But I'm the nicer one. Just don't tell her that. She laughed good-naturedly and
Take
stood up.
care.
Sleep well, Cove. Cove, night. Leaning against the door jamb, she rested her hand on the light switch and looked at you. Good night. Sleep well. Don't let the bed bugs bite. With one last smile, Mom 2 turned off the lights and stepped out, closing the bedroom door on her door behind her. You listened to her footsteps fade as she walked down the hallway. You closed your eyes and snuggled and prepared to drift off. You startled when Cove sighed deeply. You turned your head to look in his direction. In the dark, you could only see the faint outline of a lump under covers. Cove? What's wrong? What was that? Could you be less loud? Could you be quieter, please? Stop that. What's wrong? Cove, I can't sleep. Why not? He shifted, or at least you thought he did. You couldn't see anything since your eyes were still adjusting to the dark, but you heard his sleeping bag rustle. Cove, I want to be in my bed. Oh. Cove sat up. Your eyes had gotten used to the low light level, so you could see him better. He got out of his sleeping bag and wobbled toward your side table, pulling open the top drawer. What is it? I'm getting my glasses. You sat up too, watched he reached inside. He paused for a second and pulled his hand out instead of glasses. He was holding a book. Cove turned it in his hands, trying to figure out the proper orientation for it. You knew without even reading the title which one it was. That one was the one your moms would read to you. It was special. I thought you were looking for your glasses. Be careful, that's mine. Or what are you doing with that? gonna pick this one. It was, and then I felt this. It looks cool. The compliment he afforded your special book had you grinning, your confusion forgotten. It is really cool.
Oh?
But yeah, what's it about? It's a storybook about a squire. It's a story about a squire who wants to become a knight, and there's magic. Cove, does it have mermaids? No, but I love the main character because the squire is funny and brave. It has cool pictures. Some of them even take up the whole page. Mom too reads it to me. She uses different voices for the characters. There's a dragon in it, and crazy things happen. Dragon. The squire tries to kill her because the knight wants the dragon dead, so they have this fight. But then the squire finds out the dragon's really nice, and they decide that they don't want to fight her after all, and the two become friends instead. Usually, Cove sported a disinterested expression on his face or a sad one. You could probably count the number of times you've seen him smile on one hand. Right now, though, he looked like excited as he flipped through the book, focusing on the back side, trying to learn more. You were reminded of the hours you spent hearing the tales. No matter how many times you read it or had it read to you, you were still entertained by the stories and the pictures inside. Glanced out the window, the moon was high in the sky. It was definitely time you were supposed to be asleep, but you couldn't keep staying up. You wanted to read the book with Cove. So we can read the book or we can just go to bed. Or attempt to go to bed. You climbed out of bed and padded over to your side table. You opened it and rummaged around, pushing away stuffed crowns and toys. Cove called out you in a confused whisper. What are you doing? You'll see. You let a quiet cry of victory when you find what you were looking for. You jumped back on the bed for any hidden boogeyman could catch you unaware. Cove watches you wriggle your way beneath the blanket you discarded earlier and popped over your head once. Come on, check it out. Bring the book too. After a minute, the bed dipped in as Cove got in, and then the blanket shifted. You'd fiddle with the flashlight in your grip, feeling for the grip. Ow! Ow! With the click, the small space flooded with bright light. Cove sputtered, put a hand to shield himself from the beam. Move it somewhere else. Sorry. You tilted the light so it was shining down towards the floor of your blanket cave and away from Cove's sensitive eyes. Is that better? Cove, yeah. Now we can read, and my mountains won't know. I do this all the time. I've never tried something like this before. You know what? Mischievousness. I do this all the time. When Mom or Mom to check on me, I have to hide everything under the blanket, but I haven't been caught before. Do you want to try? Cove nodded. Pleased by his straightforward response, you placed the book between you and flipped open to the first page. Meanwhile, he laid on his belly and shuffled closer, picking up the flashlight to shine on its page. His face was illuminated with a warm glow. You'd mirrored his position, leaning in so you could see the book better. Your foreheads nearly brushed until you shuffled back a comfortable distance. You wanted the story to be narrated. You thought it'd best take turns. The book silently. You flipped through the pages to show Cove cool pictures. The whole page had a dedicated drawing in it. The squire was battling the dragon. It was before the two of them realized they had a lot in common and should be friends. The squire was bringing their sword down on the dragon with all their might. The dragon managed to hold them back using a giant clawed hand. Isn't it cool? Oh, and there's another one like this, too. You resume to flip through the pages, only pausing the next art piece. This is the part where the squire and the dragon fight the king and his knights. The two of you read the book in fits and starts, and focusing more on the detailed images. Cove wasn't annoyed, though. He looked enthralled. His eyes following the text, a small smile lighting up his features. A lock of his hair fell into his field of vision, but he gave it no notice, so he was lost in the story. Your eyelids started to droop. When your eyes opened again, your room was pitch black and silent. Your head was smushed in your pillow, your pajamas were sticking to you, your mouth was dry. So you raised yourself onto your elbows, you yawned, back of your throat, you rolled onto your side to sit up, planning to get water from the kitchen, and you saw a dark shape. You weren't alone in your room. Cove, is that you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You shuffled, feeling something, a circular press to your thigh. You fumbled for it. Familiar with a flashlight pressed in your palm, you turned it on. Blinked at you. He looked exhausted, though he was in normal clothes again, shoes and everything. His pajama pants were left on the floor, abandoned, his sleeping bag in a similar state. What is it? I can't sleep. I keep waking up. Did you have a bad dream? Cove shook his head from side to side. No, Cove, no, I just can't sleep. It's weird here. You frowned. You helped your moms redecorate it only a few months back. I like my room. Cove, it's weird to me. I want to sleep in my bed. I'm gonna go. What? That shook off the last of your doziness. He was gonna walk outside back to his house at this time of night, all by himself. He noted your shocked expression, looked back at you with resolve. My dad will let me in. I've gone inside late before and I have to go. Well, if you have to, you don't have to. I'll come with you. I should tell my moms. I'll come with you. I can do it myself. His tone was firm, leaving no room for argument. Not that there was any time for any, he began making his way to the bedroom door before he could open your mouth to respond. Clearly he was in a hurry to get out. Couldn't blame him, it was late. You must want to go to sleep already. Good night. Cove. Night. Just like that, he was gone. You were left blinking wearily at the closed door. You dropped your head on the pillow, closed your eyes, and sat on the best you could. You were getting sleepy again. Your very last thought was that sleepover had not been very successful. The next morning, you were woken by the sound of Mom's voice. Oh, hi, BK. Voice, Mom's voice and a soft shake on your shoulder. Wake up, it's time to get up and get at 'em. The sun was peeking through your curtains, you rubbed your eyes and adjusted to the new light. Cove's already out of bed. You blinked for a moment, confused until you caught the empty sleeping bag on the ground and remembered what happened during the night. But I didn't see him out there. I wonder where he's gotten off to so early. You hesitated, giving Mom a look with your mouth hanging half open as your mind processed what to tell her.
Everything okay?
Is everything alright? Cove couldn't sleep. He said my room was weird.
What?
Mom, where's Cove now? Did he sleep on the couch? Mom was still looking at you expectantly, but you started to explain what had happened when you were interrupted by Mom, too, calling from downstairs saying Mr. Holland was at the door. I'm in trouble. You could tell by the way Mom's forehead crinkled that even she was more concerned. She turned to head downstairs. You pulled back the covers and jumped out of bed to join her. Cliff, how are you? Mom joined Mom 2 at the door while you hovered at the bottom of the stairs and peeked around the corner. Saw Cove's dad standing outside. He was alone. You wondered if Cove had gotten home. Cove, so I'm out of the loop of what happened. Cove just showed up back home in the middle of the night. Mr. Holland was much more serious than you were used to. Maybe this was a bigger thing than you thought it was. Your mom exchanged a matching pair of surprised looks. Mom 2 gasping and covering her mouth with a hand. Cove, he wouldn't tell me. I thought you might have some insight. We didn't hear anything during the night. I noticed Cove was gone just a few minutes before you arrived. Is he alright? Mom 2, is he alright? We're so sorry. Mr. Holden put his lips in a tight smile and held his hand as to say it wasn't their fault. He's fine. I just wanted to find out more before having another talk with him. I should have known he wasn't ready to spend the night at someone else's house. You felt bad for Mr. Holden. He looked so sad. They discussed the event a little longer, your parents promising to call him if they found out more, and when Mr. Holden finally said goodbye, you heard Mom call your name. You immediately panicked, wondering if you should find somewhere to hide. There was a growing sense of dread in your stomach that you were about to get in a lot of trouble. Your moms found you eventually, though you were relieved to see they didn't look very angry. They did, however, look very worried. Did you know Cove had gotten home? You looked at both of them, your mouth pulled in a hard line, Mom's eyes too softened a little bit. Maybe he snuck out while they were asleep. He got past the two of us. Is that what happened? You shake your head, finally confessing to them what had really happened. You didn't want Cove to get in any trouble, but you didn't want to lie to your parents either, not when they had been so worried about him. Your parents listened to you in full belief before they explained how dangerous it had been for Cove to wander at night on his own. Personally, you didn't think it was that bad since Cove only lives across the road, but you didn't really tell your moms that. You were already in enough trouble as it was, so when they asked you to promise to tell them something like that next time, you nodded your head in agreement. Even though it was a little unfair, you accepted the punishment that you weren't allowed to have any sleepovers until you could prove to your mom that you were responsible enough. You were determined to show them that you could be trusted. When you saw Cove next, he was sorry he had gotten you in trouble. After hearing a similar lecture, Cove got away with a warning from his dad. Mr. Holden felt a negative experience enough, and Cove didn't need any additional punishments. In the end, the two of you and your parents would eventually move over past the ill-fated sleepover. It had all been a learning experience, according to the adults. You could accept that. There were definitely things you learned from it. Alright. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 of these left. We can do as many or as little of these as we want. By the way, we don't have to do all of them. I've done all the top ones. After a couple hours at the playground by yourself, it had gotten firmly into the afternoon. You were on the swing set with your feet buried in the sand when you spotted Lizzie in the distance. She was rushing over to you like something was on her tail, chasing her. You knew she would be coming, but was she that excited to go to the park? Instead of nabbing the swing next to you, Lizzie stopped in front of you. She bent, bounced on her hands and knees, and panted. Did you hear? Hear what? Lizzie bounced back, her eyes blown wide. You only saw her this worked up when she found the new hiding place of Mom's sugar stash. It's about Cove. Cove, Lizzie rarely brought him up herself. Never this much urgency. What's this about? You listened, confused as Lizzie explained. Lizzie, I just came out and I saw a bunch of people gathered around in the middle of the street. They were talking kind of quietly. I don't think I was supposed to hear, but that just means it was important. So I snuck up and I heard everything. She paused dramatically. Clearly she wanted you to say something. So, what did you hear? Tell me. I don't really care. You just looked back at her. Run away? What do you mean run away? I'm so confused where the runaway came from. So, seeing that she had your attention, Lizzie continued. Cove is missing. He left a piece of paper for Mr. Holden telling him he was going away and would be gone for a long time, and no one's seen him since. Lizzie, now they're searching the whole neighborhood. The grown-ups were even saying that if they couldn't find Cove soon, they'll call the police. The police? You had seen police officers around the town now and then, but you had never talked to one before, much less dealt with them. It was an intimidating thought. Was Cove gonna be arrested for running away? You watched his sister begin to pace in front of you. Lizzie, I know Mom said Cove was sad about moving here, but running away from home is crazy. Lizzie, where else is he gonna go anyways? I don't know. I want to find him. I hope someone finds him soon. Yeah, I'd go to a ton of places. You didn't answer her. One, two, three, 4, 5. This one, I'd go a ton of places. Lizzie scrunched her face, thinking deeply for a moment, then she nodded, planting her hands on her hips, determined. I'm gonna look too. You are? Lizzie, we can play at the park any day, and the more people there are looking, the quicker someone will find him. Lizzie, and I'll be the one who does it. I'm the best one at playing hide and go seek after all. It seemed like Lizzie wanted to look, not only because she was concerned about Cove, but because she wanted to see what interesting things would because it was the most interesting thing to happen this week. Lizzie wished me luck. Before you could say anything, she ran off in the opposite direction from where she came. You were left in the dust in a matter of moments. How was your sister for you? But Lizzie's appearance in this crisis faded back to your mind just quickly. Cove. He told his dad he was leaving somewhere by himself. It was surprising news at first, but it sounded like something he'd do when you considered it again. Fortunately, you had no idea where he'd gone. You thought hard. There were hills behind your house. He'd gone there when you first met. But someone would have already checked that. They wouldn't need the police for that. Cove must have gone far away or hiding somewhere. The whole neighborhood was looking for him. You swung back and forth, your lips pursing quotation. If I were Cove, where would I go? Lizzie had said Cove was crazy for running away from home, but never considered Sunset Bird his home, did he? His real home was somewhere else. The only place that came to mind that might be important enough for Cove to go off like this. It's a good idea, except how was he going to get there? He could take the bus. Was he going to walk the whole way? He didn't know what direction he needed to take, but wait, there's only one way he could go. Going down the street would lead to the beach, so that couldn't be right. Going to the other way would mean he'd get stuck by buildings and fences and big slopes like the one behind your house. That left going up the street. You knew that road. It led to the main part of town and kept going all the way to city limits. Cove didn't know the area well. You didn't think he'd go that far off on the road, onto some other roads, which meant if someone followed that path, they might find him somewhere. The grown seemed to be looking in the neighborhood. You had to go find Cove by yourself. You shouldn't tell anyone yet, in case you were wrong. You should go check it out yourself. You rushed over to your abandoned flip-flops and slipped them on. They slapped against the sand as you left the playground. You went right along the main street, keeping an eye out for Cove. No one else had the same idea as you, seemed because you were completely alone there. You passed through your whole neighborhood, then the next one over, then the next. Put one foot in front of the other, focusing on your surroundings as you did. Cove had a head start, so you didn't know how far he could have gotten. You couldn't get distracted. Kept walking, called out for Cove a few times, but you didn't see a familiar mop of green hair anywhere. After a while, the sun began to dip out the sky. It would be dark soon, and there was still no sign of your neighbor. You weren't even in the residence district by now. You had reached the central part of town. This was the area that once strange and familiar. You'd been here before, of course, but never thought your mom's close by. They would drive you. You were growing disheartened. There was a possibility that he was further ahead. There was countless other places to check, too. Cove. You shouted his name a few times. You'd done this periodically the entire time, but there was nothing. Maybe he's not going this way. Was he somewhere else? Had someone found him already? Kept going forward. You were able to make it this far. You had to continue the search. With that in mind, you pushed yourself to walk a little faster. People said it was a really tiny town, but you felt it was absolutely gigantic. Eventually, the business part of town ended too, and there was no sidewalks anymore, only a long stretch of road, so you walked on the grass instead. Onwards was your only option. You continued your journey stubbornly. Your feet hurt, you were tired, and you were on your own, but somehow you had reached the very edge of Sunset Bird. That's what the sign told you. You had lived in Sunset Bird forever. There was a rare occasion that you'd see the sign. Most everything in your life happened inside the city limits. Endless road ahead seemed to be scarier in a way. It paralyzed you and finally put an end to your forward momentum. You scanned your surroundings instead of dwelling on that. Deeply hoped he hadn't gone past the sign either. Cove, are you here? The previous times you'd called out his name, there was no answer. You couldn't be surprised that no one came out. No one didn't come at this time either until our name. A dark blob behind one of the exit signs' legs shifted. You squinted. It was hard to continue. The more you stared, the more your eyes adjusted, and the more the dark blob resembled a person. You would think you realized just who it was. It was Cove. He was here. You had actually found him. He hesitantly got up from where he'd been sitting as to make sure he actually heard something. Then he caught sight of you, his eyes wide behind his glasses. There you are you crazy? I'm so happy you're here. I've been looking everywhere for you. I knew you'd be here. You were just as stunned, and it left you silent. The last one. Cove finally blinked as you ran up to him, your feet still aching. Cove, how did you find me? Lizzie told me you wrote a letter that you were leaving. You always wanted to go back home, so I thought you must have come this way. Oh. That was all he said. After all this, maybe he didn't realize how serious the adults were taking it. We should head back now. Are you okay? What are you gonna do now? Oh, and other people besides Io are allowed to put their input in. EO's just been putting in their input because they just feel like it. He didn't look okay. His eyebrows were pinched and his shoulders were tense. You got the feeling of pointing it out. What help matters? Everyone is looking for you. This caught his attention. He frowned at you.
Really?
They are? Yeah, the whole neighborhood. Lizzie told me they might even call the police. You might even get arrested. What? Cove, what? Why? I don't know. Maybe because you tried running away? Probably? Cove, I'm not gonna be arrested. Although Cove said that, he looked a little worried over the news. Come on, Cove, let's go home.
No.
Cove, no. He spoke crossly. You were thirsty and exhausted and you weren't sure you could keep going back and forth like this. Why not? How come? We can't just... Why can't we just go? You're stupid. I don't understand why, you can't go back. How come? Your question caused him to waver, but not budge. At first, Cove was quiet, then you started to think that he wouldn't say anything. Then he spoke. Cove, my mom called today to check up on me and stuff. She asked what Sunset Bird was like and how I was doing. It was okay. But when I asked if she'll come here, Mom said she couldn't, and I can't go back either. Not right now. She has to move somewhere else first. Cove glared at the ground, his voice cracked as he continued.
It's not fair.
Why can't I even see her anymore? He used his uncast arm to rub both his eyes. I'm gonna go myself. I don't need anyone to take me. How are you gonna get to your mom's place? This is a bad idea. This is all too much. You start to cry. Do you know the directions to your old house? You're being selfish. I'm thinking like one of these two. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. If it hollers, let it go. My mother said to pick the very best one, and you are not a dirty, dirty dish rag. Shut up, as though he hadn't expected you to have this kind of reaction to what was happening. What's wrong? You didn't give him an answer when the surprise wore off. He tried more to softly coax a reply out of you. Are you okay? No, I want to go home. I don't feel good. I don't want you to go. You shouldn't do stuff like this. You simply shook your head. No. I don't want you to go. His lips clamped together as he awkwardly held his hands up in front of him, as though he wanted to do something but wasn't exactly sure wasn't sure what. Cove, I'm sorry. I don't want to leave forever. It's just... He shook his head like he was trying to clear it. When he spoke some more, it was mostly to himself. Cove, if I don't go see Mom, then she's... Fresh tears glistened in Cove's red-rimmed eyes. He stubbornly tried to blink them away, but they slipped down his cheeks. What is it? Mom doesn't call that much, and I haven't seen her in so long. Cove hiccuped, wiping his face with the back of his arm. His glasses got shoved up awkwardly as a result. Cove, if I don't go, she'll be gone. She'll forget about me. She wouldn't do that. Cove, how do you know? She's your mom. She loves you. Your mom's always said that. It must be true for Cove's mom, too. Cove sniffled. He seemed conflicted. Cove, I'm not sure if that's right. You were still stand still. Everything will be okay if we just go home. We can't stay here forever. We need to go back. We gotta go back. Then we'll stay out here. I'm not going back. I'm gonna pick the last one. His lower lip trembled at your declaration. Cove, are you sure? You don't have to. You can still go home without me. You didn't leave a letter or anything. I'm sure. Cove, thanks. You're pretty nice. You weren't sure how to react to that. You guessed it was okay that you were getting along right now. And that was from him. Both of you shuffled towards the sign. He sat near it again, and you followed, crossing your legs under yourself. He zipped open his backpack and offered you a snack, which you took. You hadn't had dinner, so you were hungry. There was a feeling of camaraderie as you, in the silence as you ate. Do you think they called the police after all? Everyone must be still looking for Cove, and you too now. Cove, no, probably not. He didn't sound confident, though you still hoped he was right. You didn't want to go to jail. You weren't sure about how much time had passed, all you knew that from one moment you were letting your eyelids droop while huddling near Cove under the sign, and next you were snapped back to the attention with a blaring beep of a horn. Cove froze and looked around to see a car approaching. It was difficult to make out who it was, but the headlights were so blinding. Instead of continuing down the road, the car continually slowed near where you sat. The window rolled down, revealing the face behind the wheel. It was very familiar. Mom! She shouted back, not just because there was some distance between you and her. What are you kids doing here? I've been looking for you. I've been looking everywhere for you. We were gonna come back later, but... She stopped looking at you instead of staring hard straight ahead. Both of her hands were gripping the steering wheel. Guilt ate you up from inside. I know.
All right.
Get in. Let's get you two home. That at least made her showing up worth it. Your feet were aching like crazy from all the walking you've done today. You yanked the side door open and slipped in the back seat, then clambered over so Cove had enough room to climb in too. He followed in wordlessly, tucking his backpack near his feet. Your mom looked at you and Cove from the rear of your mirror. The two of you had us extremely worried. That wasn't a good thing to do. Not at all. Shameful, you both nodded as one.
Sorry.
Cove, sorry, Miss Last. Sorry, Mom. She softened immediately, not enough to actually let it go, though. Cove, you'll have to apologize to everyone else, too. With that, Mom started her car up again, and you were off. The rest of the car ride, no one said anything. You thought all of you were pretty tired, and the fact that you must have dozed off at some point because you woke up to the sound of the engine stopping. You yawned and got out the car. Cove came out after, putting his backpack back on again. Mom locked the car door and motioned you two towards the house. She opened the front door and let you go in first. Mom, too, appeared quickly. She must have been waiting nearby. There was a phone in her hand. It worried you, thinking about who she might have been talking to. The tight line of her shoulders relaxed when she saw you and Cove. Oh, thank goodness you found both of them. Yes, I did. They were actually at the end of town, right under the now leaving sign. What are you two doing there at this time of night? Do you have any idea how far that is? How unsafe? You peeked at Cove. He still looked exhausted. His eyes were puffy, and there were dried tear tracks stuck to his cheek. Cove, I wanted to see my mom. They came to get me. Your own mom shared a look. You weren't sure what it meant, but they always did that. You wondered if they could read each other's minds. Since they were communicating telepathically, you stole a glance around the house. Lizzie wasn't anywhere in sight. Could she be outside somewhere, still searching for Cove? Where's Lizzie? Your sister's in her room, fast asleep, the same way you should have been. She came back earlier. She had been out looking for Cove after accidentally finding out he was missing and tried to pretend otherwise, but she was worried. She said she checked all the hiding places she could think of, but couldn't find Cove. You and Cove exchanged a remorseful glance at that. Mom, too, noticed the discomfort.
Okay.
You two must be sleepy. You can sit down wherever you like. Mom, too, smiled warmly and motioned to the living room. Cove looked up at her, then lumped over. You followed closely behind. The living room wasn't far, only separated by a wall. You heard your mom's talking softly. He wanted to go see his mother. Poor thing.
What?
That explains it, at least. I'm not sure it excuses it. It was so dangerous to go off into town like that. He's having a hard time right now. You can't expect the child to handle it maturely. True, it can't be helped. But enough of that. We should tell Cliff and the others that he's here before panic gets out of hand. There can be riots.
Is that all right?
I'll call to the front and tell everyone still out there. You keep an eye on the kids. Make sure they don't make any more trips today. Got it. Cove just sat there on the couch, setting his backpack down beside him as he stared at his hands. I'm sorry. He faced him quietly. I didn't want to make you feel bad. I didn't want to fight. And you won't do this again. I'm sorry too. I'm gonna say I'm sorry too. You don't have to. It wasn't your fault. It's alright. Despite Cove's protest, you couldn't help it. It would have been too hard not to say sorry after a disagreement. But having him apologize didn't make you feel much better. Before you could say anything else, the front door opened. Your mom was back. Mr. Holden close behind her. He made a beeline to the couch, his gaze trained on his son. Cove, God, are you alright? The strands of his hair had fallen out of his ponytail. His eyes were darkened like he'd been crying too. Cove stared up at his Dad, his own eyes wide behind the frames of his glasses. He hadn't really expected it to be such a big deal. I'm okay. Good, that's good. I'm so glad to hear that. He clasped a hand on his son's shoulder, attempting a smile, but the corner of his lips twitched and spasmed as they wanted to wilt into a frown instead. Cove seemed to have that effect on him. Mr. Holden turned to you, still smiling weakly. I'm so happy you're all right, too. Then he looked at your moms. Thank you for your help, as always. He laughed pitifully.
I'm sorry.
I'm very sorry for ruining your afternoon with this. I can't apologize enough.
It's okay.
It's no trouble, Cliff. Really. It couldn't be helped in a way. Something was bound to happen sometime. Besides, he wasn't the only one who said it was a good idea to disappear today. Exactly. We're just happy the kids were safe and sound. Not for the first time of that day you recalled not for the first time that day had you recalled your original meeting with Cove. He had run away too then, only not as far as he had today. Cove must have had a similar thought because he mumbled an apology. Sorry, Dad, I won't leave anymore. Promise. Some life seemed to return to Mr. Holden, thanks to his promise. This time around, his smile was more genuine.
I'm so glad.
That's a relief to hear. Next time you feel like running away, come to me first, okay? We can talk about it. I'm here for you. Cove nodded. His dad reached out and mussed his hair playfully. Although he made a face, Cove didn't try to dodge the hand as he usually did. Let's go home, bud. I bet you're as tired as I am. Mr. Holden took over carrying Cove's backpack, still clasping a free hand over his son's shoulder when he stood up from the couch. All five of you walked to the front door so you could see them off. Mr. Holden thanked your moms profusely, at least 3 more times, before he walked out the door. Cove was made to follow. But he stopped and turned around to you before slipping out through the threshold. Thanks. You're welcome, Cove. A tiny smile flitted across his lips there, and then it was gone. With that, Cove left. Mom, too, closed the door behind them. You were practically dead on your feet at that point. Your fatigue must have been obvious because your mom sent you right to your bed with no more discussion on what happened today. Once your head hit the pillow, your eyes slipped closed on their own. Your eyelids were so heavy you couldn't open them again until the next morning. You woke up much more at ease than you had when you had felt when you were last conscious. It almost felt like a dream. But it definitely wasn't your mom's face when you saw them, assured that. After breakfast, you were sat down in your family went over yesterday's event in full. They were none too pleased that you had went out to find Cove on your own. As punishment, your mom took away your TV privilege for the next few days, as he was annoyed she couldn't watch her shows with you around, but she adjusted. Whenever you expressed disappointment, your moms reminded you that they weren't punishing you for no reason. It was dangerous to go out your own so late, and without telling anyone, you could have gotten hurt or worse. As upset as you were, you understood. Mr. Holden had talked to Cove about what happened too. You didn't know what was said exactly, but Mr. Holden forgave Cove immediately. He didn't do anything to punish Cove for running away. He blamed no one but himself for Cove's desire to leave home. You caught your moms discussing it, once in hushed tones, frowning at each other. It was pretty serious. Although there was a word you hadn't heard before, self-flagellation. I don't know what that is. There isn't anything they can do to change Mr. Holden's mind. Your neighbors stopped you and Cove often for the week or so to express their concerns and the disapproval of the event. Still, as they always did, the days continued, and so did talk about Cove running away. Eventually returned to normal, as they had to. Summer kept going, and you kept having experiences you shared with Cove. Okay. I think let's save. I haven't saved. Save. And then let's finish the rest of these. I don't know if I'm gonna keep reading them out loud because I'm worried I'm gonna kill my voice because I'm not feeling well. But let's finish these. Or we'll finish the 2 DLC ones. And then that'll be it for today's stream. Finish the last 2. Finish up today's stream. And then we'll stream this again and we'll finish up these ones. Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 in each row, so. The night was incredibly still. You couldn't even ignore how silent it was, and it was almost eerie. You even hear Lizzie snoring in the next room over. It was hard to believe how much of a blur was today. Summer did slip right past you. You flickered through the moments like pages in a scrapbook. You laid in bed. You thought a lot about the adventures you could have tomorrow until sleep started to catch you. Then you heard something scrape against your windows. It wasn't all that common for the wind to push a tree branch against the glass. Summer breezes were worse at sometimes, but the more you tried to ignore it, the louder it seemed until it became. It was like something was trying to get your attention. You lifted your head off the pillow to get a better look. Nothing was there. Nothing you could see, at least. You went back to bed. It was only your imagination. You had to investigate the mysterious sound. It was too creepy to ignore. Second one. Okay. You practically jumped out of bed and crept down the stairs to go outside. Your moms were still awake. They stayed up late, it seemed. Luckily, they were watching TV and didn't hear the soft click of the front door opening as you slipped past. You looked around the neighborhood for a few seconds, checking over each individual house. It looked normal, but it didn't feel that way. You knew you weren't supposed to be out there right now. It was exhilarating, made you regret your decision. It scared you. The last one, it scared you. Yeah. You didn't know what had come over you. If something bad happened, no one would know where you'd gone, and that made your stomach tighten in fear. The ease which you had slipped out only served to make you feel worse. Your moms didn't need to be vigilant because they had trusted you not to do exactly what you were doing.
Tokiko.
You twitched at the sudden call, and immediately calming upon seeing Cove walking up to you was strange. It's almost completely normal to have him appear right now. What are you doing? I saw you standing in the middle of the street from my window. You weren't sleeping either? Why not? Cove turned out his lips up in a smile, almost as he was amused by the question. Because... did you hear a weird noise? You should be in bed. Because what? I'm glad you're here. Because what? Because I wasn't. His tone was irritated now. That wasn't really fair since he hadn't given you a proper answer the first time, or second, for that matter. Why aren't you sleeping? You aren't even in your house. As tempting as it was to turn his technique on him, you decided to lead by example and show him what a real answer looked like. There was a strange noise coming outside, so I came to check it out. You heard it too? Cove hesitated for a moment, looking down the street before his aquamarine eyes fell on you. Did it scare you? Yes. Me too. I was kind of wondering if it was the wind. But what if it's not? What if it's a person? What if it's something that's not a person? The unsettling noise suddenly rushed through the air. You and Cove flinched. It sounds even worse than before. You were about to agree with him when the noise came yet again, tearing through the still night. The two of you rapidly looked around, trying to find the source, yet to no avail. There was no sign to the answer of this puzzle. You thought that it could be... There's got to be a regular reason to it. It had to be a ghost. It could be anything. I kind of want to be the one that jumps to the conclusion that it's a ghost. It's a ghost. Oh. Invisible, creepy thing luring children from their beds. It had to be a monster. The thought terrified you down to the bones, and you regretted leaving the safety of your nice warm bed. Hey, can you tell where it's coming from?
Not really.
Then we'll have to look more somewhere else. Maybe we'll see something? Cove. Okay, let's go. The two of you walked along the familiar streets of your neighborhood, sharing the sidewalk and the small amount of courage you had between each other. Shadows cut corners and angles where you didn't expect them, distorting the features that you saw every day. The noise came again, shrill and hard. It set both your teeth teeth on edge the way it ground its way through. Cove's throat bobbed. His eyes glistened in the dim light. He stayed frozen in the spot. You took a deep breath to calm yourself. You ran to hide behind Cove. Last one. But the noise had escaped you in a sort of a shriek. You darted behind Cove, using him as a human shield. Cove made a startled yelp himself as you grabbed the hold of the back of his shirt. Luckily, he didn't try shaking you off. Cove shut his eyes and pressed his lips together. Where did you want to check? The park, the beach, the hills behind my house. These are all good choices. This is really funny though, because we are gonna get in trouble no matter what. I like how the last 3 of these though, like all 4 of these in a sense, we got in trouble. Like all 6 of these so far we've gotten in some sense of trouble. True. Hills behind the house. You and Cove ascended the hill, lit only by the stars in the night sky. The wind rippled through the grass and ruffled your hair without the sun's light to translate what you were seeing. Every bush in the distance looked like a creepy figure or towering monster. The noise was just as loud here as it was in your neighborhood, just as little indication behind the cause. You kept going forward. You ran away. I'm just keep going forward. You couldn't stop when you had already gone so far. You had to find out what was going on. On top of the hill was an excellent vantage point to survey the town from. Everything appeared normal. There was no out-of-place sight pinpointing the answer to this mystery, without visible markers to guide your way. You supposed it was up to you and Cove to deduce the source of the sound. The hill had many great hiding places. You intend to check them all. You upturned rocks, peered up trees, and oh shit, I didn't finish that. Log. Had a great many hiding places. You upturned rocks, peered up trees, and rummaged in the thick grass for anything that might bring some closure to all of this. Despite your thorough search, you turned up nothing amiss. You were glad you still came, frustrated by the lack of progress. You wished you stayed in bed. First one. Alright. Still glad you came. You always relished in playing outside rather than being cooped up indoors. This had been a terrific excuse to go out and see the world in a different light, literally. Well, whatever that noise was, you were confident that you had established that it was not coming from the hill. Once you were satisfied with nothing out of the ordinary was to be found on the hill, you considered your next step. Figured you'd check the park too. The private park ground was as empty as ever. You could just about hear the mysterious sound if you were quiet, but it simmered down to a whisper. Cove was practically shaking when he realized it had progressed far enough to reach here. He swallowed hard, but faced you with a determined look. My dad said that good detective work starts at home. He watched a lot of crime shows, so maybe it could be good to look closely. Okay. The two of you swept through every corridor of the park. No monkey bar, tire, or swing or tire went unchecked. The two of you conducted your separate investigations without conversation. If you had found anything that might explain the noise, you would have brought it up to the other's attention. At one point, Cove seemed to take an interest in something he'd found in the sand, but he pocketed it without showing you. You had exhausted all the possible places to search in the park, straightened up, and mused over your next step. It's gone. What? Then you realized that the noise had grown fainter and less frequent during your search. It had died off completely. You and Cove shared a puzzled look, but neither of you had gotten an answer for what caused the mysterious sound or what made it go away. A yawn crept among you. All the excitement made you forget how late it was. Let's go home. We're not going to find anything now. The night was still as you walked home, with none of the usual background noises or the eerie whistle from before. You could hear every step you and Cove made like a cough in a movie theater. So if you came to a halt outside your front door, never before it looked so ominous. Now to sneak back inside. Do you sneak out a lot? Not really. Thought so. How did you know? I hadn't seen you out of my window this late before. That was fair. It could have been possible you were just good at sneaking, as this was the first time he had caught you. Are you worried about getting caught?
No.
No. Sounds so forthright that he believed him completely, but your dad, won't he get mad or sad if he catches you? He's never happy with what I do. Oh. You sympathized, you encouraged Cove to see it more possibly, you stayed out of it, you didn't know how to react. Second. Your dad's just worried about you. He cares. It doesn't matter if he worries, if he's the one who makes things worse. Alright, I'm going
Bye.
in. Okay, good night. Good night. You turn the doorbell as slowly as the clock's minute hand, holding your breath for the telltale click of the lock. Then it nudged open. With all that happened, the door was opening, and rather than blaring alarms, you melted with relief. Back inside your house, you were surprised to find your mom still watching TV. Weird still, they looked like they were on the same shows they were watching before. Yeah, you were positive you'd been out investigating for hours. Perhaps you could use their distraction as your advantage. You could get up the stairs. It would be safe suspicion, but how would you get up there? You could sneak past. You could walk in your own house nonchalantly. You couldn't. You had to give up and come clean. Here are our choices. Sneak, just walk in the house, or come clean. The second one again. No, I'm gonna choose to come clean, because we've gotten in trouble enough. This is all too stressful, and after an awkward, suspenseful night, you couldn't handle any extra tension. Moms, they looked up at your call, caught off guard. They abandoned the couch on their show to hurry over. They were still in a state of surprise. You weren't in trouble yet.
Are you okay?
What are you doing down here, sweetie? Did you have a bad dream? You told the truth. I went out to find what was causing a noise. Time seemed to drag on as the color drained from your mom's faces.
Huh?
Out where? Out of your bedroom? What does that mean? Is that what you mean, right? Yes, hello, anyone new to the stream. You pointed to the front door, confirming their worst fears. Mom, too, remained frozen in shock while Mom launched into lecture mode. Take it, lass. It's not safe to be out this time of night by yourself, but something was wrong. You should have come to us. I thought you knew better than that. I trusted you. You know better to know better than that. Anything could have happened to you. If we don't know where you are, it's a lot harder to keep you safe. Her voice was soft, yet it still cut deep. You pawed at the ground with your feet. What they were saying made sense. It was scary. I don't like being scared. I just wanted to see what was there.
Sweetie.
Mom too wrapped her arms around you, cradling the back of your head. You clung to her. You're brave for facing your fears, but you need to be smart too. It was scary because it possibly could have been something dangerous, right? That kind of worry, something you should tell us. Okay. Mom shook her head with a sigh. Let's get you back to bed where you belong. Right, we'll have a talk about this in the morning. You pulled a face at that, but didn't protest. All things considering, they could have been much harder than on you. Once your moms had left, you turned over the night's adventures in your mind. Still hard to believe that you'd really done it. Sure, you were going to get a talk tomorrow, but at a night that you never forget, for better and worse. You wondered how Cove's dad handled his return. Cove hadn't been scared at all about his dad's reaction. Wriggling down deeper underneath the sheets, your thoughts turned to what noise could have been. Nothing had been solved tonight, but that wasn't so bad. There was a lot of mysteries in this world. Your thoughts morphed into dreams, carrying you more and more, and outlandish visions of what might have laid behind the strange sounds. In the morning, the lecture continued, but ultimately your mom decided to let you off with a warning. It had been pretty unusual circumstance after all. You later found out that Cove didn't end up getting in trouble for the nightly escapade either. It was unclear whether it was because his dad had chosen to punish him, or if Cove got away with it. As for the sounds that started with it all, the adults were around, was convinced it was nothing more than the wind. For your imaginary mind, that wasn't nearly enough? How could they accept something so simple, so easily? Maybe it made more sense when you were grown up too. Alright, we're gonna do this one. You'd been brought along to the big park today, which did an excellent job of living up to its name. The park near your house, with its lonely playground equipment, wasn't even a quarter of the size of this expansive grass and trees that laid out before you now. It was in the next town over, and too far for you to walk by yourself, so you didn't get to visit it much, and so you soaked up the environment. Another difference between this park and the one in your neighborhood was that this one had visitors other than you, Lizzie, Shillin, and Cove. Today was the busiest you'd ever seen it, and thanks to the community get-together, luring people from all over the local areas with the promise of a barbecue and fireworks. Oh, shit. Quarter of the expensive size. The next town over, so the environment. I know I did. Another difference was that is used for your family and Coves were just too many. It seemed like there were dozens of cars were parked already when you had arrived. Saw Cove hesitate, but took a look at the growing gaggle of strangers by your mom, and Lizzie bounced on the balls of her feet, barely containing her excitement. The crowd made you nervous, couldn't wait for the fireworks. You were looking forward to meet more kids. You'd rather stay at home. Your tummy was already rumbling. Crowd made you nervous. But you couldn't avoid coming to the event. Mom had told you that people were running the community event weren't charging for it, but she wanted them to get something in return, which was why you weren't allowed to touch the beautifully iced cupcakes. She had carried on her lap during the drive over. It was a special treat for them. Every time the car made a turn, she clutched a box tight enough for her knuckles to strain, much to everyone's amusement. Mr. Holden's contribution to the party was a huge pack of juice boxes tucked under his arm after being retrieved from the car's trunk. How big is this pack of juice boxes? How big is this? Is this pack of juice boxes? I want to see this pack of juice boxes. You bet there had been no such dramatics around the cargo getting here in one piece, but the box did lack the beautiful shimmer of Mom's treasured cupcakes.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. Is everyone all set? Should be. Cove, you put sunscreen on before we left? Yeah, I always do. You don't have to tell me. Mr. Holden deflated his attempt at caring for his son rebuffed, but he triumphed with a smile. Good kid. I don't want you getting burned or dehydrated either. It'll be a busy day.
Well,
I don't think there's going to be any risk of that second part. Mom nodded at the tables up ahead, laden with all kinds of food and drinks. She was right, there was plenty to go around. The parents headed over with you, Lizzie, and Cove, trailing after them. A bunch of grown-ups were clustered around there, chatting. You were more intrigued about what was on the tables. Some of it was familiar: chilled meat, sliced vegetable, big bags of chips, but there's some things you didn't recognize. Your mom had said that you weren't to touch the food until they said it was time to eat. You didn't see the harm. I'm just listening to the rules. Probably. You felt that it was important. You saw that Mom, too, and Mr. Holden had deposited the food and drink they bought. Mom, too, gave the cupcakes one final worried look before turning to you with a smile. Since that's the topic at hand, how about we freshen up with something to drink? Lizzie, yeah. Mom, that'd be great. Along with the ones out, there was a gigantic ice cooler on the ground, stuffed full of cans of soda, boxes of juice, milk, and bottles of water. Your drink was water. Water went down easily, quenching the thirst you hadn't noticed. Your little group took a break while everyone else quenched their thirst. Mr. Holden smacked his lips promptly, handsomely enjoyment. That hit the spot, but you kids should go to have fun, take care of your stuff. You can take your stuff with you and join other kids with playing games. Just don't go too far from the tables. We'll keep an eye out so they don't think about sneaking off. We're not gonna go into the other parts of the park today. Lizzie huffed at their comments. They did sound directed at her. She scanned the surroundings, nodding her head towards a group of kids in a general direction of their battalion, pointing that way. Come on, let's go over there. Cove's mouth was downturned as he looked from the parents and the other adults to the new kids, clearly not favoring either option. But ultimately, he hunched his shoulders and tagged along after Lizzie. I'll follow. You followed after Lizzie and Cove, who were waiting for you on the outskirts of the group of parents. Yeah, don't rush it. Hurry up. You picked up the pace, moving into a jog when Lizzie pelted away at full speed. You and Cove had no choice but to break out into a run. The other kids were far out in the field, and yet still at your speed. It wasn't long until you reached them. As you approached, you turned around to greet the newcomers.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Lizzie. This is my little sibling, and the one in the cast is Cove. Hi. Cove simply lifted a hand in greeting. There were a chorus of hellos and names from other kids. One of the kids looked to be Lizzie's age or older. A couple of them seemed to be the same age as you and Cove, and there was ones that teeny tiny little things with their arms folded over their chest. Lizzie, what are you up to? First kid, a boy with curly black hair and neon green sneakers who had introduced him as Hayden, shrugged and looked at the others. Not much. The second kid seemed to pipe up. Lisa had half her face obscured behind huge glasses she wore. We haven't decided yet. She glanced at glanced wistfully over her shoulder, following the gaze, and saw a spray of water first, and heard the shriek of someone being splashed in the face. You spotted the person shooting them. Some people are playing with water guns, but there aren't any left. The smallest kid, Noah, grumbled at that. You guessed that was why he was sulking. Spencer, who hadn't said much either, patted his shoulder. So that's out. A new kid raced over, a glint in her eyes, braids streaming behind her. You spotted a plastic orange pistol in her hand. Too late. The trigger was already pressed. Ah, rude. Hey! Lizzie, who'd been caught first, was fuming. Cove wiped the water from his face. You rubbed at your ear, trying to dislodge the water that pooled there. Don't spray people, you laughed. Watch out, he has a cast. You pushed her away. Third, where you look at Cove's plastered arm, you know that he had to be careful around it with water. Cove, it's okay. The girl simply started off to find more victims unaffected by your reaction. She didn't mean anything by it. Lizzie tutted, flicking her hair out of her face. The girl, not meaning anything by it didn't change the fact that she'd been sprayed. Cove looked similarly unimpressed. Lisa's face lit up as she had an idea. Hey, we should catch her. She won't be able to spray people if she's running away from everyone. Yeah. Cove nodded as the other kids murmured the idea or interest or lack of it in the game. That doesn't sound like a good... Honestly, that doesn't sound like a good idea. You sat on the sidelines. The other kids chased after the girl with the pistol, spotting them and racing after she left. She shot her pistol in the air. Only a couple of droplets squeezed. She swerved, causing discord within the group as they stumbled over each other in their uncoordinated attempts at turning. You clapped. You applauded the kids about to pounce on their target. The gap between the hunters and the hunted was now narrowing. Eyes wide, and you watched as Lisa lunged and tackled her friend to the ground. Got her. Panting, she punched up in the air triumphantly, then pushed her glasses back up to the bridge of her nose. The girl had been caught giggled as she got to her feet, brushing strands of grass from her knees. Smiling, Cove came to a stop. Lizzie whooped in delight, clapping her hands. The boy with bright sneakers grinned. You're it now. Catch us if you can. Yeah. I'll do it. You won't get away from me. They all disappeared, squealing and laughing as they tried to evade capture. The sour mood from earlier had evaporated entirely, replaced by light and playful atmosphere. Several rounds later, when most of the kids had taken at least one turn as it, the scent of smoke wafted up your nose. Caught by the surprise, you looked up and found the brilliant blue of the sky had turned to orange as the sun sank down the horizons. With all the excitement, you had lost track of time completely. Looking over, you saw people standing over the grills, poking them to life. It was nearly time to eat. We should get over there. I'm so hungry. Our parents are at different spots. Yeah. Bye. It was cool playing. Yep. Bye. Bye. You waved goodbye to the other kids before hurrying over to your parents with Lizzie and Cove. A tickle unfurled your throat, growing more persistent as you came close to the source of smoke. As the three of you approached the tables, your parents spotted you and came to join you halfway. You tried to greet them, but another cough obstructed your words. Woof, that's quite a cough. Are you alright? No. Oh, sorry. Oh, baby, I'm sorry. The smoke will be gone soon. No need to go up to the girls if they don't want to. Just let me know what you want. There was no response from the other two kids here. Of course.
So,
The main thing being served is kebabs. You can have whatever you like on it. There's different meats and veggies.
Well.
What do you like on yours? Okay, so I have beef, chicken, beef, shrimp, pork, onions, peppers, zucchini, potatoes. Beef, chicken, potatoes, and onions. That's everything. The order given, you waited for your food to be ready. Lizzie headed over towards you, having issued her own request. I don't know. I felt like it. 4 things. Yeah, 4 things. I heard what you ordered. I'm getting a chicken kebab with all 3 colors of peppers. Noticing Cove approach, she turned to him. What are you having?
why?
Why does it matter? I don't know. I was just asking. I'm getting beef and shrimp with all the vegetables except onions. Lizzie hummed, evaluating his response. That's okay, I guess. Chicken is definitely the better one. Then you can eat all the chicken. I'm going to. I want some chicken too. All the chicken in the world. Chicken is the worst. This is a stupid argument. Chicken is the best choice. I'm just gonna. I kind of would have picked it. This is a stupid argument. I want some chicken too. Yeah, I can let you have some still. You're welcome. Lizzie peered over the grills where the kebabs were being handed out. A growing assortment of kebabs collecting your parents' hands. They're coming over. Don't get jealous of mine when you realize you made the wrong choice, Cove. I didn't make the wrong choice. There isn't a wrong choices. It's just what kebab someone eats. The person serving gave your mom one final kebab, then your parents moved over to rejoin you. Between them, they were carrying 6 kebabs, 1 for each of you, including Cove and Mr. Holland. We got the goods. Cove's dad is looking for a place we can sit. In the meantime, they began passing out the kebabs to their rightful owners. Lizzie smiled smugly as she received hers. These are pretty big. Careful not to drop it, and try not to poke yourselves with the ends either. They're sharper than you might think. Hearing that, you tensely pushed the point of your tip of your finger. Tensively pushed the tip of the skewer against your finger. It felt like the point was a newly sharpened pencil. Although it didn't hurt your hand, you wouldn't want scraping the roof of your mouth or jabbing your tongue. Mom too clucked her tongue. It would have been nice if the options were a little easier to manage and less messy, especially for the smaller kids. There aren't even plates for everyone, so we could set the food down for a second.
True.
That's what you get for the price of free, but we can hack it, right? Lizzie nodded her head vigorously, clutching her kebab like a trophy. Your parents led you back to the table as it was immediately evident why Mr. Holland got sent to going out. The benches already filled quickly with people as they got their food. Mr. Holland was standing over a corner section near the edges of the sitting area. He beckoned your group to join him. You clambered onto a bench, taking care to not let your kebab slip from your fingers. Further along the table, Cove perched next to his dad while Lizzie took a place next to you. Your mom passed the final unclaimed kebab to Mr. Holden.
Thank you.
Thank you. This looks delicious. Thank you for getting us a space out here. Everyone tucked into their food, though you didn't think you used much energy standing around. You finally felt ready to enjoy your dinner. Perhaps it had been the delicious smells that filled the air, along with the smoke that had irritated your throat. Mr. Holden, what do you do?
Well,
Well, I do a lot of things. Do you play golf? Only if you count mini golf. One look at Lizzie's stricken face confirmed that she did not. She enjoyed the occasional round of mini golf at the mini golf place, especially if she had the audience to impress, but your sister took her passion very seriously. Even then, it's been years since I gave it a shot. Cove grunted at the feeble pun. I didn't realize it was a joke. Mom chuckled. You weren't sure if she was responding to the joke, Cove's annoyance, or Liz's
Don't
offense.
worry about it.
Just as well, she's been bragging to you. She's been dragging, just as well, she'd be dragging you to the green every week. It's because I got dedication. You need a good drive or two to get far. Mr. Holden chuckled, clicking his tongue in appreciation. Cove looked from his father to your sister, lost in the conversation, outclassed in golf and wits. Cove, I don't get it. A drive is a type of golf shot. Liz, you should give real golf a try. Maybe I'll teach you some tricks. Cove, don't try to change my dad to be more like you. Lizzie gave Cove a dirty look of accusation. Mom too felt the need to move the topic ahead before it got heated.
Nice.
That's really sweet of you, but I'm sure Mr. Holden is busy. He might not have time for another hobby. Cove, yeah, I don't think I'm made for that. Still, the offer is appreciated.
Why?
Lizzie, then tell me something you really do already. You just go away every day. Cove said, I like scuba diving, though with the business, that's more work than play these days. Surfing, reading, snorkeling. Those are things Cove likes. Wow, it's a good thing you live by the beach. You stay quiet. I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of times where Lizzie and Cove almost get in fights. Exaggeratedly puffed out his chest. What can I say? My boy's got good taste. He takes after his dad in that way. Huh, cool. Go eat then. The sun had been setting when you got your food, and by the time you'd finished, the night had truly fallen. Your sticky fingers were the only remainder. Ew! Why is my hand sticky? Were the only remaining evidence of your meal. The kebabs had been a great combination, more than the sums of its parts. The seasoning of freedom, the choice of every ingredient that made it something to remember. Rising from the table, Mom too held up her water bottle. Okay, now that the food's gone, wash your hands. Okay, hold them out. Lizzie complied, coming over, cupping her hands together in front of her. Mom too splashed some of the water over her fingers, and Lizzie rubbed them together, working away off any residue. Mom, here. Passed a paper towel from her purse, and Lizzie used to dry off her hands. Your turn. My turn. Please, I don't want my hands sticky. You washed your hands, taking care to clean every crevice between your fingers before wiping them dry. Nearby, Cove had taken his own course of action, wiping his hands on his pants. Leaving to stand where his fingers had been, Mr. Holden shook his head.
Come on.
Let's clean that off, pal. He scrubbed the fabric with a scrunched up napkin. Dad, it's not that bad. As everyone cleaned up, or as clean as they could be, with limited facilities, Mom spoke up.
Let's go.
Let's go make one last check at the coolers and restock on drinks before the fireworks shows. No time. We have a good spot. Everyone's gonna be taken. How about I go ahead and save space again. You can meet me up in the field after getting drinks. I'm going with Cove's dad. I'll find the perfect place. Sure thing. I could use a pair of extra eyes. Mom too shook her head refutely at Lizzie's even more enthusiastic than usual attitude.
That's fine.
All right, me, Cliff, and Lizzie can go find a place. Said Pam, Cove, and me. Do you want to get drinks? Cove, okay. Nod. As Mom to Lizzie, Mr. Holden, and Mr. Holden headed off to the wide open field where the fireworks were being set up, you joined Cove and Mom and returned to the cooler where you picked up drinks earlier. As you approached, you suspect you wouldn't find much in it. Where it had originally been stocked to the brim, it is now half empty. The ice, which had cushioned the drinks and kept them cool, was largely melted, a handful of pieces floating like tiny icebergs, slim pickings. Drinks had remained in bottles of plain water, but you caught a glimpse of something more colorful amongst it. Rummaging through the cooler, except a couple of juice boxes.
Aha.
You can take one of those if you want, perks of helping. You took a juice box. Kof hesitated but decided to take a juice box for himself. When you loaded up with your chosen drink, plus an extra water bottle or two for someone else in the group, Mom's phone started ringing. She juggled the waters over to the crook of her arm and looked at the collar. It's Mom too. Hold on while I get this.
How are you?
Hey, hon, what's going on? Did you find a perfect spot already? She nodded along with the call, punctual uh-huhs. As Mom 2 gave her directions, catching her eye, she gestured towards the grassy area. We've got a place. Come on. We better hurry before the show starts. You and Cove jogged after your mom, who led you through the field, and your separate groups of people assembled there, back to the rest of your families.
Hello.
Hello, we're here. We come bearing drinks, though there wasn't much left. The three of you hand over the spare drinks. You held up the extra juice box. I brought this for someone.
How sweet.
Despite Mom 2 replying pretty expectantly, there was just one person who made a claim to the sweet drink. Can I have it? Okay.
Thank you.
Aw, thanks. I love you. Aw, you two are a real pair. Once everyone had been equipped with a beverage for the big event, you sat on the grass near your family and waited for the magic to begin. Most people in the park had taken a seat by now, with a few stragglers silhouetted back at the tables in the distance. A few rambunctious kids were still dashing about, but their number was steadily decreasing as their parents called out for them and restored order. Someone bearing a cardboard box waved between groups, pausing every so often. What are they doing? Looks like they're handing something out. I can't really make out what it is. I hope it's not drinks. Chuckled, but Lizzie and Cove were now watching the buy store of mystery goods. They're gonna come to us too. Mom Sophie put her hand on top of her sister's shoulders as she feared Lizzie might bolt over the stranger. Lizzie didn't even glance at her, eyes off on the potential prize. I don't know. We'll have to wait to see. I don't really care. There was no point in getting excited over something that might not happen, and there were other things going on. Yeah, I'm not gonna really have a bad relationship. You toyed with the grass between your fingers and waited for the show to start. Then the box man made his way to your group. Evening, I'm handing out desserts. Any takers? There's desserts? Lizzie squealed, hopping off the ground. The man chuckled. Ooh! I'm gonna take this as yes. Ice cream fillings are vanilla with a twist of either chocolate or strawberry syrup. Nice, not for me though, thanks, same, but the offer's appreciated. I want chocolate. Can I have strawberry? And a strawberry for me too. I like strawberry more. No! I can be lactose intolerant. I'm not gonna be lactose intolerant. I want strawberry.
Oh.
Do not. Okay, okay. Ice cream toss them out. It came in packages in a little cup, complete with a wooden spoon stuck to the paper lid. The condensed wet on your fingers in a pleasant way.
Thank
Oh,
you.
condensation. Thank you, kids. You can have thank the nice man. There was a chorus of thanks. He cordially nodded, walked off to another group. The man couldn't spend much time with each group, considering how many he had to get to. You peeled back the tab covering the ice cream and got right to your unexpected treat. It tasted amazing. Lizzie was definitely enjoying hers. Cove was too. Lizzie munched away happily, but ultimately didn't succeed in monopolizing her attention. Eyes wide, she looked at Mom 2 and pulled her pants.
Please.
I think it's strawberry. Can I have some of yours, please?
Of
Of course, sweetie. Lizzie cooed with excitement as Mom 2 presented her with a double of ice cream and syrup mixture. Licking her lips. Yeah. Come on now, Lizzie has all the ice cream she needs. She simply laughed and pinched Lizzie's cheek, then dug her spoon again and held it out to you. I can't just. They've already got that flavor. It's not the same as getting a little extra. I'll accept it. You ate the treat being offered, and much to Mom's chagrin and Mom's delight, Cove watched the exchange silently with a blank expression. Mom, on the other hand, shook her head and found a smile. Well, you better at least give me some too. Could have gotten your own if you wanted ice cream. What? The kids have ice cream already, and they're getting some of yours to boot, and I have nothing? Now's when you decide to be firm. Laughing, Montus fed some ice cream to your sulking mom. She could never actually follow through with being tough. There. All better now. Yes. Good. How about you? Would you like some? Nah, I'm still okay, but thanks for keeping me in mind. Cove, it's only fair you get the choice too. Shook his head, concentrated on his own cup. Okay, as long as no one else is feeling left out. Mom was always so nice to everyone. Then the fireworks cut through the sky, whistling as it ascended until it hit its crescendo with an explosion. The park flashed as if it alight. Squealing, Lizzie leapt her feet, her forgotten ice cream tumbling to the ground as the fireworks crackled into tiny drops of glitter in the sky. It's starting! As everyone else looked up at the sky, another firework whizzed through the air. With each explosion, Lizzie would jump into the air. The event was spotting your discomfort, Mom came to sit behind you. She wrapped her arms around you from behind, her warm, comforting presence. Watched. Having Mom with you made you feel better. Didn't seem as bad to take in the fireworks while she was around. Cove stayed by his dad, captured by the sky, sparklers and flashes overhead. Mom's gaze was on you, then your parents made eye contact. Your mom just with her hand, silent that things were fine. Mom, too, smiled, then hopped to her feet and joined Lizzie in jumping in tandem with every crackle of a firework. They had a little party together. Mr. Holden was watching the fireworks scenes impassively. He did smile at you, then gave a thumbs up when he noticed you were looking over. The fireworks continued, some twisting like a coil of a spring as they arched into the air, others shooting straight from the ground, shattering into a million tiny specks. Every color got its spotlight in the show, from the fiery reds to the eerie greens and the blues that could rival the ocean. You eventually noticed that at some point Mr. Holden had let Cove perk the top of his shoulders, more like Cove had to be persuaded to give it a try. Still, Cove's face was covered in a wide smile that matched his father's own. You imagine the view from way up there was impressive. It was also nice that they were getting along for once. The show built up to the grand final, boomed over the park, filled every inch of the sky. Twinkling lights represented a full spectrum of the rainbow. As the final glittering embers dissolved into the night, you released a deep breath. The afterimage was still burned into your retinas, leaping up behind your eyelids with every blink. Within a minute, the image had been lost, but it was burned deeper still in your mind. You'd been so focused on the show that your foot had gone numb beneath you, and it was only when you attempted to stand that you felt the tingling sensation of blood rushing back to your toes. Cove was on the ground again, your eyes locked momentarily, then you turned back to your family. News that Cove and his dad would be coming with you on a once-in-a-year event News that Cove and his dad would be coming with you to the once-in-a-year event hadn't been great. You could admit that it hadn't been as bad as you feared, but it would take far more than not actually actively ruining one event for you to consider Cove a friend. Though the sun had gone down a long time ago, the air on your bare arms was warm. You took it in, your giddy family, their spirits buoyed by the fireworks displayed, and smiled. It had been a pretty special night. Alright. Alright. This is the end of the stream. We'll stream again soon so that we can keep going through with this playthrough. But anyways, bye-bye.